doing its thing, then it's still raining.
Then it's doing its thing.
Yes, then it's doing its thing, and it's raining.
Yeah. It's quite heavy. It's quite heavy. Yep. Welcome to the Situation Room. Nduoko is not with us today. She's all right, but she's just taken a day off to address matters of her national importance. And then she'll be back tomorrow, God willing. But Siti Muga and Eric Latif are right here in the studio today with you. A song that just come to mind. There's that song from South Africa, Wahamba Nati. Oh, Wahamba Nati. I don't know why, but yeah. Siyabonga. Siyabonga. So we'll have a number of conversations today. We'll talk about what's happening in terms of COVID lockdown. There's a whole demand that IMF does this and the other. IMF has is unleashing the first truncheon of cash to the Republic of Kenya, expected today. They had their meeting yesterday, an online forum, and Kenyans invaded. And they're all, don't give Kenya money. Don't give money to us. But that didn't go very far.
If that money is wired electronically, would it interfere with the wiring?
If Kenyans can cut the wire.
Your wire, by the way,
Kanyanga wire.
it's not physical. Or should we say move the wire?
Mtu amekanyanga wire, pesa isingie.
But what I like, though, is that we can debate around the effectiveness of what is being done, but we have moved from talking, something is being done. Yes. Now, the details of where it's at, how it's likely to escalate, what it might achieve,
Stories.
we will wait and see.
Those will be other stories. Anyway, right here where we are having the show today. A number of things that are happening as well in the country. One is today is World Health Day. And as we commemorate World Health Day, we are battling a pandemic. We are battling an economic crisis. We are not sure and certain about the rollout of the vaccination. Kenyatta National Hospital has suspended surgeries because they are running out of oxygen, medical oxygen. So we have all these things that we are dealing with as the world marks World Health Day today. In fact, not just Kenya. Many countries in the world will be looking at what needs to happen and what's happening. Not a small thing, right?
No, it isn't a small thing, but it pushes that debate that we had earlier. If you have hospitals producing their own oxygen, like we're told by the governor of Nakuru, then the conversation should be how and what must be done for a health facility of Kenyatta Hospital Seriousness to be able to be self-sustaining in matters of health. Yes, what must they do? What are these things that they must ensure that they have in place?
In the meantime, COVID-19 and all the things that COVID is doing are still doing that. I'm having issues connection to the internet this morning. Sasa hii ni mambo gani? The rain comes, it takes away the internet.
Well,
Let me just log on to my mobile device, and then I'll tell you how
by the way,
world is dealing with this.
even if it wasn't the rain, Eric, one of the things that happens with these online services, every once in a while they pitch a fit, okay? Because even those who are the experts will tell you, oh, sometimes that's the explanation, a technical explanation. Sometimes these things happen. So you say, okay, what am I supposed to understand by that? Meaning, they also don't get it. Sometimes the system just does the thing, okay? Yes, so, and that has nothing to do with rain.
It's one of those days, eh?
Yes, it has nothing to do with rain.
All right. So just looking at where we stand as a country right now, we have reached the 2,258 death mark with 139,842 confirmed positive cases. A majority of those, of course, have recovered. 96,000 have recovered. The new cases in Kenya as of early this morning, and what was recorded, rather what was reported yesterday, are what we keep seeing. 394 new cases and 14 new deaths on the 6th of April. That's yesterday, what was announced by the government yesterday. 394 new cases confirmed positive, 14 new deaths announced. If you compare these to the previous day, where we had 20 new deaths and 460 new cases, and the day before that, 900 new cases and 18 new deaths. So we are looking at a situation where we are still riding this particular wave around in the country, and it's still getting to that point where everybody is being told, all right, be very, very, very alert of what's happening. Looking around the world, Mexico has had 4,675 new cases in the last 24 hours and 603 new deaths.
Yep.
And they're still looking at number 14th in terms of the country with the highest number of confirmed positive cases at 2.25 million cases that have been found positive so far. If you compare that, the number of deaths in the country with America, for instance, which has 570,000 people who've died out of coronavirus in the last 1 year, Brazil with 337,000 people, India with 166,000 people, and then France with 97,000, UK with 126,000 people who've died. These are countries that are recording high numbers of deaths over just because of COVID-19. So with that, and then look at the measures that the countries have taken in terms of lockdowns, in terms of what's the latest thing that governments have done to address this, lockdowns and all. It's a big thing.
The Brazil is leading in something that one would really not want to be considered a leader in. Every new day brings about new statistics on the upward side of the number of deaths in the country that are COVID-related. The situation within the health sector is not full to capacity, it is overwhelmed. So, anyone who wants to keep talking and discussing, talking about COVID and saying, well, we need to go easy, cast your eyes on Brazil. They took the word easy to a very logical conclusion. And what is happening now, and the logic behind the deaths, is that they didn't take this disease seriously. And unfortunately, when you reach the stage that, when you're at the level that Brazil is at, even when you now try to rein it in, the damage has already been done. Even as you try to rein it in, the damage will continue being done. Now, our neighbors right across this particular fence, called the border in Tanzania, the new president has already started taking steps to turn the tide and to ensure that people who actually understand the epidemiology of these things come to the fore, and that Tanzanians are prepared to battle it. Her pronouncements and the things that she's saying clearly indicate that she wants this COVID matter to be taken seriously. Yes.
So she said we cannot remain an island where we don't have our statistics out there. Where everybody else, you can see what's happening in the world, and then you get to Tanzania, it's dash.
Yes.
So she is thinking of creating a task force that will be comprised of scientists and medical experts who will come and advise the government. But one thing that stood out for me in all her speech was, just like President Jakaya Kikwete once told us, and that's what she was saying, take it from the world, but localize it. And I'm thinking I'm gonna be proven right or wrong in coming days. Don't expect a lot to happen in Tanzania in terms of how they're dealing with COVID. Yes, they'll start announcing. Yes, they'll start releasing the data. They have the data.
The data they have, you cannot have people going to hospitals and the information is not recorded. They have the data.
Their labs are still working. That means that they have testing capacity.
Their research capacities also work.
Yep, they're buying testing kits and reagents. Those ones are there in the country.
They've always bought them.
Yeah. So they will just start releasing statistics, in my thinking. They will continue doing what the Ministry of Health has recently done, which is say, wear face masks, wash your hands. They'll amplify that message. In terms of, can we go back into a lockdown and all? I don't see it happening in Tanzania.
I actually don't see her trying to take steps right now that could be interpreted as being in contradiction to what Magufuli had wanted. No, it's early days yet. She must be seen to be following in the footsteps of Magufuli, and she must also appear to be saying and doing things that would clearly point to her reinforcing what the immediate former president of Tanzania was doing. That is what she will do. And even if they go about the business of ensuring that other things that were previously not done are done, it won't be loudly. That is my opinion. They will do it quietly.
Yeah.
But
Gradually.
But they are not going to suddenly halt, stop, push forward, make it known. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Just like you can see. So yesterday she was speaking as she was swearing in the new officers who have been appointed to various departments of government. New principal secretaries, new directors of state corporations and all. And you could still see none of them was wearing a face mask, and there was no requirement for that. Things about social distancing of sitting close to one another, that was as normal as has always been in Tanzania, even during Magufuli's time. So you can see, even as they're talking about all these things, it's still going to be Tanzania's way. And I think they'll still insist on that.
Which also means that they may get vaccinated quietly.
Yep.
And don't talk about it.
Yep.
Or they may have gone and checked their COVID status quietly, but they're not going to talk about it. But they're not going to overtly show that they are going against what the former president said. No. They will quietly bring about the changes. So in that regard, I concur with you.
Indeed. So we're going to be taking a break shortly to look at the weather forecast from this country and other parts of the world. As we take that break, I'll be sorting out this internet connectivity here, which is, I don't know why, it's basically just deciding because it's raining today. So therefore, we're not tutafanya show hata mkikataa. It's 6:15. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room, broadcasting from Nairobi to Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, Eldoret, Nyeri, Malindi, and also online, SpiceFM KE on YouTube, on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Leo O'Brien. Confirm that live stream is up. It's up, yes. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, the live stream is up. Good morning. Let's take this break, take a look at the weather, and then look at the newspaper headlines.
Have you seen them? Am I live?
Yes, it's a very nice outfit, I must say. Good
Thank
job.
you. Asante sana.
The compliment is well received.
Good morning and thank you. Everyone was asking me what channel is Spice FM.
96.7. Tell them that, right?
Yes, now they know.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have
What
you.
a beautiful studio, my friend.
I've been to other radio stations, but I've never seen anything like this.
Thank you, and it's very nice to be in a modern studio. Absolutely brilliant.
And I have to say, it's a very cool ambiance here in your radio room. Just for our listeners, I think it is below zero in this room here. Very Swiss temperatures.
"24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
The realest and craziest couple are now on your screens. Terrence and Chebi are bringing you top celebrities and trendsetters on Thursday Night Live. It's double the fun and double the laughter every Thursday at 10 p.m. on KTN Home.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise.
Yeah! You're listening to Spice FM.
Sugar and spice and everything nice, just the way you like it.
The Spice Drive.
Did you have a great day? I hope you did. I intend to make it better from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'm going to be taking you home nice and chill. Everyone is welcome aboard. The hashtag is Spice Drive and, of course, SpiceFMKE on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
The Spice Drive with Monique. The official soundtrack of getting you
All right, let's take a look at the weather. So Nairobi is clearly going to be a wet day today. It's currently raining heavily in some parts, especially around the CBD and where we are on Mombasa Road. It's also raining in other parts of the country. So let's look at Nyeri. Nyeri, for example, is very cold this morning. It's going to be a wet day in Nyeri. It's going to be a wet day in Kiambu as well. It's going to be a wet day in Eldoret. We'll be facing some rains. Mombasa is going to be sunny. It's been raining a couple of days now. It's going to be a sunny day, but expect some light showers maybe later on tonight. Malindi, Dorcas, how is it? You're the one who's going to tell us. Well, it's raining right now, but I can tell you that later on in the day, what they're saying is that you can expect some light showers and some cloudy afternoon. And then let's look at around the world. We're looking at London. London is going to be a hot, not a hot day, but it's going to be a warm day today. The US, New York, is also looking at cold temperatures, but going to be warming up later on in the day. Well, let's look at the weather from other parts of the world later on. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room.
Spice FM. Spice up your life.
Bwana Muga. Today's proverb.
Without a leader, black ants are confused.
Without a leader, black ants are confused. I can tell you've told us this before.
Yes, I have. And there's a reason why.
And there's a reason you're bringing this one.
Yes, there's a reason why I have.
Because we are black ants. You have thought and considered and seen there's something about us being black.
There's a reason why I brought this back.
Or leader.
You see, it isn't just black ants. That particular kingdom that is inhabited by these wonderful creatures, the thing that is noticeable about them is that they move in large numbers. And when you look at them, at a glance, you think they're all moving in the same direction. When you look closely, you'll find it's not. Some are moving, a good number seem to be moving in one direction, but there'll be others who are moving in another direction, right? Now, the thing about ants that is particularly interesting is, if you put an obstacle in their way, all right, it doesn't scatter them. You know what happens? They
go over.
Just climb over.
They just go over the obstacle.
Yes, and some go around it, but they continue. But the reason why this is possible is because there is leadership. And they have a purpose and they know where they are going. Yes. Now, we'll talk about it further.
I see what you mean.
You see where I'm going with this?
So there's an obstacle here.
Yes.
Let's see.
Yep.
Okay. Leader is determined. We shall cross over to the other side. All right.
Are we with or without a leader? Because in the absence of a leader, then this positive discussion that I'm having, this thing that I'm saying works so well, usually will not work as well.
Yeah. Let's look at the headlines then. We have already dealt with this one by what President Suluhu making an about turn on COVID and what she was saying. But also this other big one. Health crisis on page 2 of the Standard. As KNH suspends surgeries for lack of oxygen. KNH has attributed the cancellation of operations to the surge of COVID-19 patients in need of medical oxygen in the third wave of the pandemic. Tens of patients are reported to have succumbed at the facility due to lack of medical oxygen. Of the 6 COVID-19 patients admitted to the facility yesterday in need of critical care, 3 died due to lack of oxygen. 2 were yesterday still fighting for their lives in the ICU, according to a doctor who sought anonymity. Majority of the patients on admission require oxygen, but it's inadequate, an issue contributing to deaths. So, this is East Africa's largest hospital.
Okay? It is.
People are going. There are 6 patients who require ICU, right? COVID patients. Out of these 6 patients, 50% of the patients die. And they are dying mainly because there was no oxygen, which is what they required in the ICU.
And oxygen is produced in this country. We have an organization, an enterprise that deals with nothing but the production of oxygen.
Of gas.
Have they complained that they are unable to produce enough oxygen to supply the need? Have you heard of such a statement? I haven't. Have you perhaps?
No, I haven't.
No.
I haven't. Because you see, if we look at, first of all, the story says, and this is a story by Masika Henda of the Standard, that KNH has received medical oxygen from BOC gases to run emergency surgeries and for COVID-19 cases requiring oxygen support. Through the internal memo, KNH directed all patients booked for elective surgeries to be discharged until the situation normalizes. So elective surgeries are those planned in advance, which patients need but are not of life-threatening nature, including cosmetic surgeries, cleft lip repairs, removal of tonsils, weight loss, eye surgeries, spinal fusion, and some sports-related surgeries. Some cancer-related surgeries are also not emergency in nature unless they are causing life-threatening complication. For instance, intestinal obstruction. Another notice from the Biomedical Engineering Department also notes that the nationwide shortage of medical oxygen has affected all our theatres, ICU, and Magathi IDU. But clinicians have been notified that there is medical oxygen available for only 2 theatres, which will run emergencies in maternity and the main theatre. This is Nairobi. Okay?
This is Nairobi.
This is coming barely a week after the Health Cabinet Secretary had a meeting with the producers of gas in this country.
Yes.
The main manufacturers of gases. And they said, yes, we are on top of this thing. A day later, a big philanthropist in this country, the man in charge of Defke Steel Mills, released a statement and said, you know what, I am willing to actually supply oxygen to all facilities in the country to a tune of 100 million shillings. I have some factories here and there. Find a way. This is available. And then a hospital, not in Baragoi, not somewhere far where we're saying, rains,
not in the Elemi Triangle.
Not in the Elemi Triangle.
Yes,
here in Nairobi, KNH, where there's a road that goes to KNH, which is not very far from the Ministry of Health headquarters, runs out of oxygen.
They're almost literally next door.
What is this?
It's very difficult to understand. If
that a facility like this, even if they're saying that it's an elective surgery, go back home. But come on, I had booked. By the time somebody's being told go back home, they were on a waiting list.
People don't
get
book
theater
surgeries
space
for fun. It isn't as though you've decided, what should I do with myself this weekend?
Let me just cut this thing up.
Let me undergo a surgery. No, it isn't. I don't think. But I consider for a single second this confusion that we normally speak of, that bedevils our Ministry of Health.
Yeah.
The goings on within the health sector.
Yeah.
Spearheaded by certain inefficiencies that one sees in certain departments of the Ministry of Health. We keep talking about it catching up with us. I am going to stop saying it's going to catch up with us. I think it's caught up with us and it's overtaking us.
It's ahead of us.
Yes.
It's
oxygen.
We are trying to catch up with this thing.
A situation where we know with greatest clarity, that we actually do have sufficient oxygen or producing capacity in the country.
Yes.
And at the same time, somebody, these people who read out these things, I don't know what it is that they think. You are telling us, I don't know.
There's something there's something that's going wrong.
It went wrong
at Afia House.
It went wrong. It went and it's continuing to go wrong.
Something is just not right at Afia House.
I think there's something wrong with us also in the way we expect Afia House to do things. I think it's time we face reality. They're not going to do certain things, all right?
So now, who is?
I think that's really the point. You start with what should they do which they haven't done in a long time. Take it that this is not going to get done. Then ask the next question. Okay, so either we get someone else to do it, which we shouldn't because that's their job, or we find a way of getting them to do it. It can't be that in addition to having a problem with COVID, a condition that could very, very, very well be eased, something that could be sorted out because we have the capacity, isn't being sorted out. Why? Is it not reminiscent of that saga of blood donation?
Yes.
We have people in the country, they're willing to donate blood, but somehow the people in charge don't seem to be bothered in the least to ensure that there's a system that enables them to have that blood.
Yes.
They are just not bothered.
If it's not one issue, it's another. Look at the rollout of vaccination. There are centers in this city, right, which is not far from Kitengela,
yes,
where you still are having issues, challenges in terms of shortage of the vaccine.
Yes.
There are some facilities, vaccination is taking place in public and some private facilities. Private facilities have looked at this as it's a national emergency, it's a health emergency.
Yes.
So we are going to dedicate our staff, our resources, our everything to have a vaccination center. Bring the vaccines from health ministry. We shall tell people, come, we shall vaccinate them. So a health facility, for example, sets aside its nurses, it sets aside its human resource. Sit there and your job is to vaccinate. It's a business, but they're not making a shilling out of it. Get to a point where you're vaccinating 70 people, 100 people, or 200 people per day. You get communication from the health ministry. You guys, slow down. Eh? You're finishing these vaccines too fast. Slow down. What is that? What is that? Because I've heard this from several heads of private facilities, saying we had actually gotten to a point where we were vaccinating and people were coming and were booking and were coming and then we were told, first, especially now over Easter, slow down. Easter is a time when
you
you'd
have time on their hands.
Yes, you'd have had more people going for vaccine. They were told over Easter, just slow down because you don't want to finish the stocks that you have.
There's I don't usually get tongue-tied, but on this matter I get tongue-tied. Why I get tongue-tied is because what is going on in my head and what I need to say and how to say it are at variance. The things that I am thinking, I cannot channel them out just as the mind is producing them. I have to sort of like panel beat them before I actually say them. But I do not honestly understand what these people who, these jobs they have, no one forced them to take it. No. And no one has even asked them to leave their jobs. But why they are getting into a space where those who are willing to do what they're supposed to do are also being interfered with.
Imagine.
Because there is a larger interest.
It was shocking speaking to these guys, these senior doctors, and hearing them say that.
Yeah, you've been told to slow down.
You've been told slow down. Wait, you're consuming the batch that you have received too fast. Just slow down.
And
and this is, they were thinking, okay, so I've dedicated my human resource into this. I'm going to do as best as I can to make sure that this 1 million doses, we're done.
And this is a private enterprise, but they're doing this thing because it's duty.
Yes.
They're saying, okay, this is our country, these are our people, we will do it.
It's public duty.
Yes.
This is what we ought to do. Because it's appearing like, so let's just ramp it up. Let's increase the communication and awareness. Tell people, look, somebody who falls in this category, and they're very strict on the categories. Somebody who falls in these categories, they are now 58 and above, they work in the healthcare, they work as a teacher, blah, blah, blah. Tell them to come. Tell them to go to this platform, log on, book an appointment, come. You will not stay on the queue for long. You'll get vaccinated, go home. Call comes. Ai, nyinyi bwana, mnafanya haraka sana.
Some facilities would tell you that they've run out.
Yes.
And people thought, vaccines have run out. No. Since it's the government that supplies them, when the supply they have given you runs out, it's like they pause and say, okay, just wait a while before we do it. Yeah. And then these guys have gathered momentum and the people now coming.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what that does to people who've come and they've been told vaccines have run out?
They go home thinking now it's done.
Yes, because
I missed out
we no
on
longer
this.
have vaccines. Now, this is as opposed to the UK. There is a population of something like 60 million people and ordered 400 million vaccines. So you wonder, okay, this one.
Anyway, 28 minutes to 7. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. Let's take another break, see what's happening on the roads, and then we will look at more headlines. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
The realest and craziest couple are now on your screens. Terrence and Chebi are bringing you top celebrities and trendsetters on Thursday Night Live. It's double the fun and double the laughter every Thursday at 10 p.m. on KTN Home.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah!
You're listening to Spice FM. Spice FM.
It's getting hot in here.
Oh, everybody steals. It's better a thief who brings something small back. And I say to myself, there's no better thief. A thief is a thief, period.
All those bribes, how much they're getting per year, how much inconvenience they're causing. As much as you call it a small case, it's worth it to be convicted.
The truth is, we are a tribal nation. Because if we were not tribal, and I want to go back to this, you cannot continue walking around with a mug which is clean outside and it's rotten inside.
We have become a fuliza country. We have mortgaged our country because of debt.
You've got one chef working and the assistant
chef.
chef.
Do you want the truth or the truth? The truth is that it's raining in Nairobi. The other bit of the truth is that Mombasa Road around Nyayo Stadium is like driving in a river. Those are two truths for you this morning. What you do with those truths is up to you. Somebody says, hii Nairobi ikinyesha, mtu anashindwa atoke na gumboots, atoke na swimming costume, atoke na boat. And then, of course, you know what's happening. So, there's a construction of an elevated expressway between JKIA and Westlands. The contractor is on site. So, first of all, at General Motors, at City Cabanas, the road starts narrowing down. Get to General Motors, the road narrows down again. There are trucks that have blocked the highway, broken down and blocked the highway near General Motors, going towards town. So, chaos upon chaos this morning on Mombasa Road. Other roads coming into town, well, Westlands also getting into town. Madness. Everybody else, just relax. Even if you're stuck in traffic, at least you're on a road. Your brothers and sisters on Mombasa Road are looking for how to swim to their destinations. Good morning.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life.
What else are we looking at?
I'm actually looking at the Business Daily. There's an article that caught my attention as I was looking at. There was this London fares jump 5 times on Kenya travel ban. But as I was looking at this story in the Business Daily, the thing that caught my attention was an editorial and opinion on page 8. It's an article written by a certain journalist by the name of Jenny Lusby. Kenya a scapegoat for UK COVID failures. Remember this discussion we had about, okay, this ban, surely, okay?
Why us?
I mean, why us? And a member of parliament in the British Lower House gave details at great length, spoke about it and said, but folks, I don't seem to understand. If I look at per every 1,000, if I look at the rate of COVID infections in India, in France, in Germany, in the UK itself, my goodness, 3 digits. Kenya, 17. For heaven's sake, what are we talking about? If you look at, this particular article goes into even greater deals and talks about the UK and says, if you look at certain towns within the UK and you're looking at the same statistics as a point for discussion, okay, Barnsley, 148 infections per 100,000, okay? Doncaster, 144 per 100,000. Sheffield, 137. Now, these are towns within the UK where the government has said, okay, we can now start letting people get out of the houses.
Yes.
We can now allow people to go shopping.
Yes.
Said, how do you explain this when you have a situation where this other country, the whole country you're talking about, has 17 in that same 100,000? But let's take it further. The discussion that this particular journalist goes on further to say, they say, you see, what they also find strange is you are banning a country saying that they have this variant, okay, called a South African variant. We got that. British variant. So this British variant, is it more in Kenya or is it in Britain where it emanated from? And now this is me adding. South African variant is called so because it is assumed it
emanated from.
Yes.
It was first detected in.
Yeah. Now, so where is it likely to be more in? And which country on this continent has been hardest hit when it comes to corona? Okay, is it Kenya? The answer is no. South Africa has been harder hit than Kenya. So, and South Africa has not been red listed.
South Africa is not on the red list.
No, they're not on the red list. It's us, Pakistan and Bangladesh.
And Tanzania and Rwanda.
And Rwanda, yes. But what she then says is, you see, there are things that governments do to hide their own inefficiencies. She says the UK government spent the equivalent of 8 trillion shillings, 8 trillion, on a test and trace scheme that never worked at all. It didn't work. This is in the UK. He said now this was followed by a complaint by the British taxpayer that they are being cooped up in the house. Yet there are people who are enjoying their holidays in the sun, either in Dubai or at the Kenyan coast. Okay? Now, the government, to show that they are actually doing due diligence, said it isn't that Kenya has a problem. The government is trying to appease their taxpayer by showing we are not joking. If there are people enjoying
even those Britons who are enjoying their holidays
they are
in
not
Kenya
going to
will
enjoy
not
their
come
holiday.
back.
Yes. The same fate that has befallen us befell Dubai also, according to this article. So I read this article and said, my goodness. And it's an interesting headline. Kenya a scapegoat for UK COVID failures. Interesting perspectives, wouldn't you say?
Yes. They're dealing with their own thing.
The example that tickled me.
We are collateral damage.
Yes. At France. It says, look, France next door, 436 over 10. Said,
and Kenya is 17.
Yes. And France has not been red listed.
Yes.
Says, what really is the logic here anyway?
There you go.
You listen to it and decide what you think the logic is.
There you go.
Yes.
So, tough conditions as the IMF approves new loan. The IMF has demanded that all public servants declare their wealth and that the government makes public the ownership details of all companies that are awarded public tenders as a way of curbing rampant theft of taxpayers' fund. According to a statement issued yesterday by the IMF, announcing the decision to lend us 257 billion shillings, they also singled out 9 key loss-making parastatals that will be overhauled to stem bleeding in public finances. Basically, these guys are saying, we're giving you money and we're coming to show you how to use this money. Okay? Number 1, all public servants to declare their wealth. I'm sure government will tell them, but that we in fact came up with a law more than 10 years ago.
Yep, and they'll be doing fine.
That has been happening.
We've got that.
Yeah,
Still, we want you to declare.
Number 2, Ati, declare the ownership details of all companies that are awarded public tenders as a way of curbing rampant theft of taxpayers' funds. The government will tell them, actually, from the beginning of this year, we came up with a new law and regulation that every registered company in the Republic of Kenya goes and declares beneficial owner. So that one, we're already ahead of you guys. That's what you want. That is any company that wins a tender that's operating, even if it's not winning a tender with the government, that's winning a tender with a standard group, if you go to the register of companies, you'll find out who the beneficial owner is. Kenya, unacheza na sisi. We are ahead of these guys. At some 9 parastatals that now will be consolidated, blah, 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 blah. We have already started dealing with 4.
We are ahead of this game.
IMF thinks that they've got us. We learned this in 1990s.
We did. When the word conditionalities was introduced.
Yes.
I even thought at the time it wasn't grammatically correct. Who cared?
Who cared? Those
We
are
know
IMF conditionalities.
Full stop. They're conditionalities, not conditions.
So this is what they're saying. Concrete measures will include completing a draft blueprint that will identify necessary actions and legal reforms to enhance governance, developing an integrated monitoring and reporting system, establishing a performance management monitoring and evaluation framework, and initiating a review of institutional structures.
We have these.
We are ahead.
We have these. We have these. In fact, in greater detail than are being mentioned in the papers. Oh, we have these things. These? Oh, we have. We have. We even revised them.
We have version 2, 2021.
Yes. And then we have laws to ensure that they are enforced.
Yes.
So, if this is what you want.
You drop it, yeah.
Go to cupboard, the blue cupboard.
Yes.
Third shelf. Okay, that document. Dust it, bring it forward. It's there.
The only thing that they'll just say, okay, so you want us to raise taxes? How I will raise taxes? It's okay. Sio si tunalipa. Ni Kenyans. That's a big one. That's the headline on The Nation. But the one that takes a lot more space on The Nation is another headline, and they're looking at murder in the family. They're saying killings within families are rising at a time when the overall rate of crime has been comparatively low for the past 1 year, mainly attributable to the increased presence of police officers on patrol and the nationwide curfew, which has limited movement. So, as overall crime has been dropping, the kind of heinous crime of murder within families has been rising. Last night, there was a report of a police officer who's attached to the Interior Ministry who went home, shot his wife, who's also a police officer, and then killed himself. Last night. Okay? There was a septuagenarian in Kisumu who was killed on Easter Monday by this young man who decapitated her and went with the head to the police station.
Using a hoe.
A djembe.
Djembe. This young man had been incarcerated. He's someone the neighbors knew well. And upon his release, people didn't really accept him back. But these antiques of his didn't begin with decapitating his grandmother. He had at some point threatened to dig a grave for her in which he would bury her.
What?
This guy, from every indication, has not been mentally stable for some time.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that he was doing, whatever reasons. But let me tell you something else that cooping people in does. Any condition that somebody may has, it exacerbates it.
Makes it worse. Huh?
Yes. Human beings are social creatures. They thrive when they interact with each other.
Yeah.
If you limit the interaction, believe me, you set in motion other problems. Other underlying issues that may have been perhaps just below the surface will now come to the surface. Others which were a little more subterranean, couldn't be seen, will get to the level of being just below the surface. It is important for the government to understand that with the lockdowns that we have, the problems we keep talking about, the mental health situation that we had a whole commission on and a whole task force on, my friend, whatever they reported on has multiplied since because of these lockdowns. And if you look at it also, you will find that there is a disproportionate rate of crimes being committed by younger people. And part of the reason is that they do not seem to have hope. When you are young, you've probably had an education, some training. Part of the reason why you have this training is you hope that this will give you something.
Yeah.
When perennially nothing happens, you start getting despondent. And the process, unfortunately, brings mental ill health. You may not think so, but that's what it does.
That's what it does. Huh?
It does. It brings mental ill health. So someone will do there'll be some genuinely crazy things. 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the increased rate of crimes.
Yeah.
The week before that, we're talking about. The week before that, we're talking about it. Next week, we
shall talk about it.
And we're going to be talking about the increase.
And it's a number of people who are being killed by people they know
Yes.
very, very well.
Yes.
The woman who is said to have bitten her husband.
Yes.
And just those 3 bites caused the man to start convulsing and dying. The young man, remember the young man who is alleged to have killed his entire family?
Yes.
And that case is still ongoing.
What about the seminarian who was found dead? I mean, The stories just get from bizarre to more bizarre.
Yes.
Now, these are things that are reported. What about the occurrences that happen in places and the reports don't get to us or the stories are not filed? We are actually at a precipice. This isn't a pleasant time. This is actually a dangerous time.
It is.
Yes.
And the government knows about this. They have a report. They've been told what they can do, how they can start acting. There's something that's wrong.
It is not wrong in the passive tense of the word. It's in the present continuous tense. This thing, there's something absolutely wrong. And it is wrong from the very top.
You know,
it's wrong from the top.
I was asking myself yesterday, City, is it that because of the show that we do, the kind of information that we consume, and then analyzing it, that then we've lent towards the negative? That things are not as bad. I've been in the business of news for years. Okay?
Yes.
Sat there being a news editor, read the news, but I'm at a certain level now, everything is just exposed. It's glaringly wrong.
I don't think
that there's a system that is just not functioning or moving. Is it just now? Is it?
No. Right now, we are seeing a culmination of issues that have been brought to the fore because COVID has not just exposed disparities and problems that we've had. They've actually COVID has increased it. Because with the COVID, we've had job losses we didn't have before. But we already had an unemployment problem. The disparity and the differences in terms of capacities and abilities have also been exposed in this country. Issues that could be hidden now can't be hidden. We focus on the health ministry because COVID is a health issue.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, even just as you're focusing on COVID, just COVID alone, something else will come up and you'll wonder, God Almighty, what on earth? There are too many of these things happening at the same time and they're being brought to our attention. So no, the answer is no. We are in a period in the time of our history in this country where we are seeing the multitude of things going wrong multiplying, if I may use that expression. It's not as though we are talking about something that is new. We're not looking for the information. It's hitting you in the face. I may not even want to talk about it, but it's there.
It's all there.
I look at these papers I have before me and I'm looking and I'm saying, why don't I find a story that is not as depressing? And there is none.
There's none.
Okay? 15 Nairobi MCAs contracted coronavirus. Now you tell me, 3 of them are in the ICU. The next thing you're going to hear, some have died.
For lack of oxygen.
Yes, and yet, they could have been tested so that their status is known. That city hall has a clinic.
Yes.
Okay? It has. I know it has. Okay? That's where one used to go for the yellow fever jab. That's why I know it exists.
Yes.
Okay? But around Nairobi, in all the places where these MCAs are, they're health facilities. Are you telling me that given the severity of this particular condition, all these lovely people whom we have as members of parliament could not use the capacity they have to understand that let's divert resources for this emergency that we have. It's more important to have people staying alive. They couldn't.
It's chaotic. It's chaotic.
And you know why it's chaotic, Eric? Because people want to get rich in this country by stealing. And that is the focus. Everything else revolves around how can we steal from this? Everything revolves around it.
The worst part is that it's the people that are supposed to be doing some job, to be leading, to be doing the right thing that are actually have converted themselves to become the thieves.
They're robbing us in broad daylight and then trying to tell us that they're doing a sterling job looking after our interests. This one they need to explain to us. How you rob me and you're doing me good. How? Exactly.
How is that working?
Yes.
Time for a break. And as we go into this break, remember jobs.standardmedia.co.ke. This is the portal where you log on and you find all the jobs that have been listed there. And then you can sign up for customized and personalized newsletters coming to you via email or via SMS. Jobs.standardmedia.co.ke. What did I wanted to cough. Jobs.standardmedia.co.ke. Good morning.
Spice FM, Malindi. 24/7 around the world non-stop. This is Spice FM.
It's time to answer questions that are worthwhile. The Big Quiz Show is here. Register to play from the comfort of your home by SMSing the word JOIN to 23774. Then watch the live show on KTN every Sunday from 8 p.m. where you could have a chance to win a melee. The fastest and most accurate answers are guaranteed to win. The Big Quiz Show, Sundays at 8 p.m. only on KTN.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah.
You're listening to Spice FM. Spice up your life.
What other headline are you looking at?
Well, it would appear that, remember we talked about this impasse between USAID and the Kenya government?
Yes.
Specifically, the Ministry of Finance, specifically KRA, over some money that ought to have been paid for ARVs that have been at the port. Apparently, this matter has now been resolved. The minister for this one, credit must be given to the Minister for Health, wrote to his counterpart, Yakura Tani, and the matter was resolved, and an approval was given for an exemption of whatever it is that had been sought in the first place, which means an understanding was arrived at. Exemptions are not sought for when goods arrive at the port of Mombasa.
This is a conversation that must have started a long time ago.
Yes.
So what is it that was happening?
The way I see it, and remember what we were discussing before we went into the break, this monster, this hydra that is at Afia House, there are people who are determined that things must work their way, as in terms of, let me be facetious, call it profit sharing. Okay? It doesn't matter what it's for. Yes, we know what ARVs are for, and people have actually had to reduce, the dosages. Now, there's a problem here. With ARVs, you don't start saying take half of what you've been taking. No. That dosage that you take is what is able to keep the demons of HIV at bay. You reduce it, what you're doing is you're changing the ecosystem within which that particular drug works. And what you may end up doing is you may get that particular virus in a position where they have an advantage in that now they will have gotten a position to actually acclimatize to this.
Thrive.
Yes. And they become resistant. The net result is that they'll become resistant to this drug. But the matter has been resolved. Think, Eric, of the time. If you want to understand the question you've asked, this is my thinking. Think of the time when we had these containers that were supposed to be mobile clinics. Remember? They never did go out to do the work that they were purposed to do. They ended up being taken to Madari.
That's been at Mathare?
Yes, that's where they were taken. Do you know of any place? Kenyans, that ministry, if those things were being shipped off to other counties, you would have heard. There would have been fanfare. You would have known these things are going, and you would have known when they have arrived. They went to Madari and they stayed there. Okay? The biggest scandal that we've had in that ministry for the longest time, we've had many, was the MES one.
Yes.
And counties are paying for equipment that they don't even use to date.
Yes.
Not last year, to date. Now, you tell me, a ministry that can pull such a stunt, each of these counties knew exactly what they required in terms of equipment. They knew their capacity and they knew what they could plan for. But somebody decided for them that this is what they were going to get. Are you telling me that such a group of people, if faced with a situation such as the one we saw at KEMSA, because you cannot talk of KEMSA and not talk of the Ministry of Health. You can't.
You can't.
And you cannot talk about, because that is the parent ministry from which they get permissions from. And already there were indications that people in the ministry were already involved either in giving hints or in suggesting or giving instructions. Okay? Case is pending. So why would ARVs be an exception? Especially when you know that there is a danger attached. Danger in the sense that if people don't get ARVs, their lives suddenly become forfeit. So, why is it happening? Let's put it this way. For lack of a better expression, it appears that even though the minister has resolved this matter, whatever brings about these issues at the Ministry of Health is far from being sorted out. Far from being sorted out.
It's crazy because USAID stopped using KEMSA for a reason.
Yes, they did.
So for a long time, KEMSA has been the procuring agency for USAID when they bring in the...
They were.
PEPFAR, same. Right? Global Fund, okay. Now, that whole audit that was done and the reports came out, even before this COVID scandal came out, there was that issue of the PEPFAR, the Global Fund, and auditing KEMSA and what KEMSA has been doing. And them raising questions, leading to USAID saying, we are not going to renew this contract with you guys. So it was known. The question I'm asking is, why do we have to get to this point?
It's a pissing contest.
That's it's just someone saying,
fine. You brought them. Okay, let's see.
Utaona.
Let's see. Let's see what you're going to do with these things. Let me tell you something, though. The distribution of those drugs was actually very efficient. You were informed, you knew. And believe me, they would arrive. Oh, yes, they would arrive.
I think it's like you're saying, it's a pissing contest, and it's for both sides.
Yes, it is.
Even the USAID should also know that it's this. What you're doing is you are supporting a government program on the rollout of ARVs. You cannot work without the government.
And you're not supporting your own program.
Yeah, and you can't just come and arm twist things and say, you know what, we're going to bring them and then we're going to social media and go to media.
These are things you have a quiet discussion about.
Yeah.
These are not things you try to strong arm a country, a ministry.
A whole government.
No.
You can't.
They'll tell you to keep those drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what are you going to do?
It's a learning curve for everybody involved to see what it is that they can do and what they cannot do. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. Good morning. It's now 7 o'clock.
Spice up your life. Spice FM, Nakuru.
Okay, so the situation on Mombasa Road coming in towards town, that thing that we were talking about is still the same. Getting into town from Mlolongo, coming towards town, it's bad. It's a rainy morning. If you know where you are, just know that it's going to be chaotic. Mombasa Road around Nyayo Stadium, it's flooded. And then Mombasa Road all the way from City Cabanas, coming to General Motors, going towards the roundabout, it's crazy and it's chaotic because the contractor is on site. Lanes have been reduced. There's some obstruction of water, and therefore there's collection of water on the road, on the highway. Be careful wherever you're going. Thika Road coming into town, it's also now starting to get busy at the usual spots, as well as Kiambu. And Juja is already blocked. That's what they're saying. My goodness, it's already becoming crazy. Let's hear of anything that you think that we should know about. 40127 is our SMS number, and SpiceFM KE is our Twitter handle. Good morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room.
Very good morning to you. 2.5 minutes after 7. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, The Situation Room. We're now live on KTN Home for the next 2 hours, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. In addition to being live on SpiceFM around the country, Malindi in 97.7, Nyeri 90.9, Kisumu is 102.5, 87.9 in Mombasa, 96.0 in Nakuru, Eldoret 96.7, and Nairobi is 94.4. We are also live streaming the show, and you can follow us online, www.spicefm.co.ke. We are on Facebook, streaming there. SpiceFM KE is our page. And YouTube, SpiceFM KE is our channel. Follow us on Twitter as well, at SpiceFM KE. In the room this morning is CT Muga and Eric Latif. Our colleague Nduoko, she's well, but she's handling some matters of her national importance. CT, today's proverb?
Without a leader, black ants are confused. Second time showing.
Second time showing?
Second time being pronounced.
All right.
Yes. First time it was just a proverb I was announcing, or I was talking about, or I was speaking about. But as I was looking at the proverbs I had listed for the week, this one actually went back into history. And I thought this would be an appropriate one.
Without a leader,
black ants are confused.
Black ants are confused.
Yes.
Okay. So if they get into anything, kind of obstruction, they don't know what to do, then they have no direction.
Well, if there's no leader, you see, that movement that you see of ants, it's very orderly. It's orderly because there's a leader, there's a purpose, and each of those, I've taken time to actually study, just look at what they're doing. And then you'll find there are some carrying certain objects. There's some who just seem to be walking. But they are all involved in some activity. And why I brought in the obstruction, when you put in the obstruction, the thing that you notice is it's a pause of a millisecond. And then they start climbing. Some go round. But what is interesting is how they pass each other. Those moving towards JKIA, I'm using that as an analogy, those moving towards Nairobi, and they just keep passing each other in a very orderly fashion. That happens, that orderliness that we see is because there is leadership. That is why you see that orderliness. Yes. And even when you disrupt it, let's say, for instance, I've seen an occasion when someone sees those ants and sweeps them away. Sit and give it something like 5 minutes. They will congregate again.
They will be there.
They will congregate again and give it time. You'll find them forming that path again and they'll start moving again. Leadership in action.
This is what happens, basically.
And that only happens because I think they have purpose. And there's leadership.
So what made you think of this proverb today? I mean, why?
I was thinking of how it is we tend to have a certain collective reaction to things. For instance, the knee-jerk reaction that we as Kenyans have when things go wrong is we complain.
Yeah.
And really, really complain. But we are usually, if you listen, we're complaining about the same thing over and over and over and over again. And the perpetrator of this particular problem that we keep pointing to is the same. So we're not very different from the black ants that are going about their business, just walking back and forth.
And our leader is not expected to do anything different from what their leader.
We get to a point where we expect our leaders to do wrong. Now, that is where the real problem is. This is where I realize this is wrong. The ants are different in that there's something they're working towards and building. Okay, and you can give it time, you will see them. If you want to even see it, look at the ants that build those small little ant hills.
Yes.
If you have time and watch just a brief moment, the process they take in how they move the mud and they keep moving it and building it, okay? They have a purpose. Now, our leaders clearly have a purpose. And part of the confusion that we find ourselves in is because that purpose isn't what they sold to us.
It's not aligned to our purpose.
Yes, our expectations and the things that they told us they were going to do. So we are confused. So the thing we can hold on to and which is a low-hanging fruit is the ability to complain.
Bas.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about, making things easier, all right? So over the last couple of years, you've seen things happening in terms of how easy it is to order a cab. How easy it is to get food delivered. It started much earlier with how easy it is to get stuff that you want delivered somewhere, right? And several companies started coming up. So you have a parcel that you want delivered somewhere, you knew where to go. There were those days of the Posta, EMS, Speed Post and all. But if you wanted something delivered from Mombasa Road office, Standard Group office, to CT's office in another part of Nairobi, what would you do? Companies would then hire messengers. The guys just sitting there waiting for you to have enough to send around, and then they'll go. And then companies started emerging, and this now would start making things easier. One of them is Sendi. Sendi is a logistics company aimed at helping businesses and individuals move anything from point A to B at the touch of a button, simply and transparently. They understand that logistics is a fundamental part of ensuring that a business runs successfully, and they allow businesses to focus on their core business without thinking about deliveries, and hence do more. This is what Sendi says about themselves. Now, I want to bring in the CEO of Sendi, Mesh Alois, to come and tell us more about what they do. Mesh, good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
Thank you very much for joining us in the Situation Room. You are in the room with Eric Latif and CT Muga.
Thank you for having me today.
Now, I've just given that brief introduction of Sendi from what you guys have been saying that you do. But tell us, with your own words, who is Sendi? When was Sendi born? And who does Sendi send?
Yeah, good. So thank you. I mean, Sendi, we are a Kenyan company based out of Nairobi. So we are based here in Nairobi, operating across East Africa with offices here in Kenya, Uganda, and expanding into West Africa as well. What Sendi we offer businesses an app where they can push a button, and when they push that button, a vehicle comes or a motorcycle comes, picks up their goods, and takes it to their customers. That's easy. So as you had explained, like a couple of years ago, businesses weren't able to do that. You had to know someone, or you had to walk by the roadside to find someone who would actually transport for you your goods from point A to point B, or you'd have to have your own vehicles or motorcycles to be able to do that. We launched in 2015 here in Nairobi. And since then, we've grown across East Africa, and now also looking at West Africa.
Great. So, with all those things that you've been doing, just take us through the evolution, the different product offerings. What is it that you offer? What did you first set up, and then what made you introduce new products? Was it client driven, or was it you thinking innovatively and disruptively?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mix of both. I mean, we started in 2015. I mean, back then, the likes of Uber weren't even in the country just yet. And so when we started with motorcycles. So we said, this is going to be the easiest way for people to actually trust us. So we said, you can push a button, and then a motorcycle will come, will pick up your goods and take it to your customer. After that, we saw a lot of businesses asking us, but I have bigger or basically larger cargo. So can you have a vehicle that can deliver that? Then we started adding vehicles onto the platform, pickups and vans. That was our second evolution. And this was driven by customer demand and the ease of use of how our customers interact with our platform. After that, the demand from customers kept on growing, so we added even bigger trucks onto the platform to have these businesses now move stuff even outside Kenya, from Nairobi to Uganda, to Burundi, to South Sudan, you name it. After that, most of these businesses, we also saw how inefficient they were actually operating to distribute their goods, and with the same principle of where you push a button and your goods get from point A to point B, we also added where for some of the retailers that work with these manufacturers that are our customers, you push a button, we send your order to multiple consumer good manufacturers or suppliers, and we aggregate the goods and bring it to you. So it's been majorly driven by customer demand. Our focus here, we are obsessed about our customers, and we want to make sure that they have the best possible experience. So it's a mix of both. Innovating around our technologies, our platform, but at the same time, just driven by customer demand.
Well, thank you. It's an interesting introduction. This is, as far as businesses go, well, still a fairly new line of business. And as businesses go, your success will be the impetus that encourages other people to enter that same line of business. So, the only way you stay ahead is through innovation. What are your plans, future plans, to ensure that you stay on top of your game?
Yeah. I mean, two things, actually, if I can put it really briefly. So two things. One is, of course, innovating, and I mean, on the technology side, so just looking at solutions to help our customers deliver their goods to their customers in the most affordable and efficient way. Can you just push a button and something happens? No phone calls. So just making that as efficient as possible. The second thing is just our customer experience. It's making sure that our customers have the best possible experience to move their goods to their customers. If we do those two things, then the cost of moving those goods to their customers, or what they actually call distribution cost, becomes cheaper and cheaper. And when we do that, then we're gonna basically stay ahead of the curve while providing value to our customers. I want to mention that, and this is something that a question that I get a lot here. 100% of our product is built here in Kenya, and we have over 60 or so software engineers just sitting here in Nairobi building our product, and the talent that we have here. So I just want to mention that it's a competitive advantage for us. The talent that we have here in Kenya is just is world class, and just combining that with also how we innovate our customer experience. Our teams, we're gonna get there and be ahead of the curve.
You know, when you say ahead of the curve, who would you say your main competitors currently?
So our main competitors actually, and this is going to be quite strange. So our main competitors are businesses that we've not been able to reach them. That means they're still operating with the guy who's still sitting on the side of the road, who will do one or two deliveries a day, and that's inefficient, which is more expensive. So that's what we will call our competition, and our goal is to reach all those businesses, bring them onto our platform, and be able to get there. Now, another adjacent competitor is basically multinationals coming into the region, coming into the country, the region, and Africa as well. And for us, really, knowing the terrain, building local solutions for local problems for our businesses that we've worked with over the years. So that's what I mean by us actually being ahead of those curves.
Focus on delivery. Are there specific products that you find at the center of your focus? For instance, do you only deal in industrial goods? Do you deal in parcels from one part of the country to the other? Do you deal in horticultural products? What is the array, the list of things that you actually deal in?
Yeah. So we deal in three industries or three segments. What we call at Sandy. So the first one is consumer goods. So anything that you eat, your household items, your food items, anything that you actually use in your house, be it food or just household items. So consumer goods. That's the first segment. Be it tissue, be it your sugar, be it your rice, be it your consumer goods products. The second bit is agriculture. So this is another key segment for us. So agriculture, so again, anything that gets from your fertilizers, so farm inputs, farm outputs as well, the farm produce as well. So that's our second segment. And then the last segment, our last segment is e-commerce companies. I mean, we see e-commerce over the last couple of years. E-commerce has been growing quite rapidly. So e-commerce companies helping them reach their customers as well, deliver to their customers. Those are the key three segments that we actually see forming a large portion of what we do here at Sandy. But we also have adjacent industries like construction that we actually see moving goods onto our platform as well. So those are the items or categories that currently we see we focus on. But also we say here at Sandy that we deliver anything anywhere. But those are the three segments that we focus on today.
Is there a specific reason why you focus on only these?
Yes, so we focus on those because those are the areas where we see, I mean, for us here, our mission is to make it easy for businesses to trade. Those three segments, if you look at Kenya, if you look at East Africa, and also the continent as a whole, those three segments are going to form part of our high growth. I mean, if you look at the economies in Africa, 6 of the top 10 most growing countries are in Africa. And if you look at the industries that are driving that growth, those three. So you have consumer goods, you have agriculture, and then you have e-commerce. And of course, the technology company, technology is part of that. And we're using technology to really power that and grow that.
What happens with a customer who isn't technologically savvy or doesn't have the benefit of having technology easy to access? How does such a person get to you, and how do they access your services?
Yeah, so for people who are not able to, I mean, to your words, not tech savvy, what we do is we have a drop-off centers. So if you crisscross down, you'll find that Fendi has drop-off centers where you can actually visit there. You'll find one of our staff there, and they'll be able to onboard this customer and just ensure that they get their goods to the customer. And we are rapidly expanding that offering to make sure that we can actually reach all these. Fendi can reach all these customers.
One of the things that I think most Kenyans enjoy doing is being able to be assured that if they send a parcel or a letter to a loved one in some part of the country, it will get there. It is for that reason that some of the companies that essentially are security companies in the country, one of the business they do is they offer such services. We call it parcel delivery, but it is letter delivery. Now, what are the security assurances that your company would give a customer who wants their goods to be sent by you to whoever it is who is the recipient?
Yeah. So what we do, actually, it's two parts. And I mean, Fendi does this in two parts. The first part, and we give the same kind of security or kind of just assurance to both a customer who is sending a letter and also a customer who is sending a full truckload of items to Mombasa, for example. And how we do that is two parts. One part is you're able to track this particular delivery 24/7. So if you're taking something for you from here to Mombasa, you're able to see that in real time. We send you notifications on where your goods are, where your parcel are at any one given time. So that's the first piece. The second piece, we add on insurance on top of that. So we have insurance on top of that. If anything goes wrong, we just make sure that Fendi ensures that's sorted out. And coupled with that, all the partners, I mean, we, just as you mentioned, the way we make it easy is we work with third parties. So we work with truck drivers, motorcycle riders, fleet owners as well, who are on our platform and uses our technology. We vet these third-party partners before we bring them onto the platform, from their certificate of good conduct, to the company status, to the directors, or to the people who actually own those fleets or those vehicles or motorcycles before we bring them onto the platform. And actually, I would actually say using technology, we are much from a security perspective and just the transparency aspect of it. We're much better compared to those folks that you actually mentioned.
The other aspect of security would be matters of national security. So where obviously you know that there's a great risk of companies such as yours being used by people who would have other intentions to transfer things or goods from one part of the country to another. For example, looking at contraband, maybe financing terrorists and just moving cash through your system, or poachers using your system to transfer. So how do you deal with that in terms of security?
Yeah, so that also is in multi-part. And what Fendi does is quite actually brilliant, quite brilliant to actually even help nationally, just help the agencies in curbing that. So we actually have a digital trace of everything that happens. So the first digital trace we have is of the person that is actually sending that item. So before you are able to send an item on our platform, you need to register. We have your phone number, we verify your phone number. You're likely going to pay us with M-Pesa. We also verify that. So at that point, we've done that verification as an individual. As a business, we also verify that business using a third-party verification partner. So we've verified at that point. The second piece is we allow our drivers or our partners to inspect what they're carrying. So that's part of our terms and conditions. And we've clearly articulated our terms and conditions on what you can actually transport on our platform. So our partners will verify what is this that are basically carrying. They will also take photos of that. I mean, when they actually feel this is suspicious, they'll take photos of that. They will actually raise that with our teams. On partners app, we also have a panic button or an SOS where they can actually press, and security personnel will actually get there. So we work with a partner called Rescue. Rescue who would actually send out rescue to help them with that situation. And lastly, what we do as well is our partners have licenses. So this is not trendy, but our partners have licenses with communications authority. So we also look at those guidelines and provide them the data that they actually need. And as a matter of fact, that data is very essential for them to curb such cases.
So you're regulated by the communications authority.
So our partners are regulated by the communications authority. So what happens, what Sandy does is, I mean, our partners who are actually the delivery people who actually do the day-to-day delivery from point A to point B have a license with the communications authority, and we help them facilitate that. We also help them get the data that is needed to be sent to communications authority. So yes, in that respect, we are regulated by the communications authority.
Okay. So
and our relationship with the Communication Authority has been very, very collaborative in the last couple of years since we started in 2015.
So Sandy is the platform, and then you have the partners who are doing the actual logistics. And those are the ones that are regulated.
Correct.
And the platform itself, does it fall under any form of regulation?
So this is more or less like a platform, a marketplace where all the sellers and the buyers come in and be able to get the services done. What we ensure as Sandy, which is our responsibility, we ensure that on the delivery people aspect, that they have the necessary regulation to be able to get there, and on the partner side, on the customer side also. They've actually gone through or passed through the regulation that is actually needed to be able to do that. And we work closely with the regulator, because then what we do at Sandy is regulated by proxy, of course through our partners, and we ensure that that's always on the clear with the regulators, and we have constant communication and collaboration with the regulators.
How are you navigating these COVID-infested waters that we now find ourselves in? And how has it affected your business?
Yeah, I would first say most of our customers or businesses have been hardly hit. The lockdown make it even worse. And what we've been able to do here at Sandy, we see the effect it's having on small businesses that we work with. We see the volumes are declining. But what we do here at Sandy, we said we're going to keep the economy moving. We're going to make sure that we have the vehicles out there that are still delivering goods to consumers. By the end of the day, people have to eat. You have to have your household items. Farm produce have to be brought to the cities, or to farm inputs have to be taken to the farms. At the same time, people who are at home, the e-commerce products that they buy, wherever platform you buy on, most likely it's being delivered by Sandy in the background. So just making sure that for us, we are able to keep the economy moving. By making sure that our services are still flowing smoothly as water, just to make sure these goods get to where they need to be to keep our economy moving. As a company, the effect it has had on us is we've had to work from home. So most of us today are actually Sandy are working from home. So we are working remotely. Of course, that comes with its own challenges as well. Over the years, we've always wanted to, as most industry as well, I've always wanted to work from home, most on the service industry or technology space like ours. But then you miss that touch with people, just being close, having conversations. and that's a challenge, but we are navigating.
I want to thank you very much, Alois, for speaking to us. Mesh Alois is the CEO of Sandy, and well, you guys have revolutionized and disrupted this industry, but also it's for the good and making things much easier, bringing in the convenience that is required with technology, and then making it easier for us to move goods from point A to point B, as you said. Thank you very much for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. I mean, we look forward to keep the economy moving as a business here in Kenya. And our focus is just for this business, you push a button and we take your goods from point A to point B. So thank you for having me.
Asante sana. Time for us to take a break on KTN Home, on SpiceFM and online. 27 minutes after 7 o'clock. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. As we go on to this break, children are at home, they're on school break. So what's happening with them? GenerationNextChallenge.com. That's the portal we'd like you to log on to. GenerationNextChallenge.com. This is a place which allows the kids to actually get on, find various challenges. And this is the Kenya National Challenge, where they'll use the power of math to play fun activities and design their own creations, solving weekly challenges using math, computational skills, imagination, critical thinking, competing against and sharing with students from all around the country. Once they complete this, they actually get badges and certificates, and they have potential to earn scholarships for global challenges and bootcamps. So it's a very good way of keeping those little people engaged during this period. GenerationNextChallenge.com, brought to you by the Standard Group, Fanisi Academy, and the Adembo Otieno Pan-African Hub for Higher Learning. Good morning.
Spice FM. Spice up your life.
Sugar and spice and everything nice, just the way you like it.
The Spice Drive.
Did you have a great day? I hope you did. I intend to make it better from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'm going to be taking you home nice and chill. Everyone is welcome aboard. The hashtag is Spice Drive, and of course SpiceFM KE on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
The Spice Drive with Monique. The official soundtrack of getting you where you need to be.
Have you seen them? Am I lying?
Yes, it's a very nice outfit, I must say. Good
Thank
job.
you. Asante sana.
The compliment is well received.
Good morning and thank you. Everyone in Wasingishu was asking me, what channel is Spice FM?
96.7. Tell them that, right?
Yes, now they know.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have
What
you.
a beautiful studio, my friend.
I've been to other radio stations, but I've never seen anything like this.
Thank you, and it's very nice to be in a modern studio. Absolutely brilliant.
And I have to say, it's a very cool ambiance here in your radio room. Just for our listeners, I think it is below zero in this room here. Very Swiss temperatures.
"24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
Okay, let's see what's happening around the world. Nairobi is currently 16 with some rain showers. 25 is going to be the high for Nairobi today. New York is clear at 13 degrees presently. It's going to rise to 21 and lows of 6. Let's go to London, the UK. Currently at 0 degrees. It's going to rise to 8. Paris is currently at -2. Highs of 9 today and lows of 2. Beijing in China is sunny at 19 degrees. It's going to rise to 19 is going to be the highest, and then drop later to 3 degrees. Lagos in Nigeria, currently partly cloudy at 25, highs of 34 later today, and then dropping to 27. In South Africa, Johannesburg is partly cloudy at 12, rising to highs of 20 and lows of 12. Let's come now regionally. Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, light rains at 25 degrees presently, gonna drop to 24, but hit highs of 30. In Kampala, Uganda, currently mostly cloudy at 20, gonna hit highs of 25 and lows of 19. Around the country, Mombasa, Light rains presently at 27, highs of 32 and lows of 25. In Malindi, light rains at 27, highs of 32 and lows of 27. Eldoret 16 at highs of 25 and lows of 12. Nakuru highs of 26 and lows of 13. In Nyeri, highs of 23, lows of 14. Currently, rain showers at 13. In Kisumu, it's currently sunny, gonna hit a high of 30 and lows of 19.
Spice up your life.
All right, as at 11 minutes ago, accident alert opposite KICD, and this is on the Thika Superhighway. Another one also on Muranga Road, that is Aqua Plaza. There's an accident there. A bus appears to have hit a pedestrian, and now that's causing some serious snarl up. Jump begins at Airtel all the way to Nyao roundabout, heading towards town. Mombasa Road is just going to be a crazy day today. It's been raining and there's construction going on all the way from Mlolongo up to ABC Place. If you're going towards the CBD, if you're coming out of the CBD towards the airport, if you're going towards Westlands, if you're coming into Westlands or in towards the Nairobi CBD, be careful with the entire stretch of the road. There's a reduction of number of lanes, there's construction ongoing, and there are some diversions. And those diversions, now that it has rained, well, some parts are flooded. Thika Road, as we've heard, coming towards town, near Muranga Road, there's chaos there. Kiambu Road also getting into town. Expect everything that happens around Kiambu Road to be happening this morning. And also, the driver of a Probox lost control and landed in a pool of water, Thika Garissa Highway. It's just raining, so just be careful wherever you are. Good morning.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Everything nice.
Spice up your life.
All right, so it's 26 minutes to 8 o'clock. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. The conversation continues. In the room with you today is Siti Muga and Eric Latif. Our colleague Nduoko is away. She's well. She's handling some personal matters. Hopefully she'll be back tomorrow. Today is World Health Day, Siti.
Indeed. You know, I actually personally get thoroughly confused with all these celebrations and the days allocated for these celebrations. But I think also it's important because it gives us a day on which we actually focus on certain things that are important to us on this planet. Whether it's World Women's Day that is celebrated for a week, World TB Day specifically, World HIV, whatever it is that is being celebrated, I think it's a good thing. However, even as we talk about these days, one of the things that we also do is we celebrate people who have been leading lights in specific areas in this particular field. And when it comes to health, I think there is no shortage of people you can look at and consider to be people who have contributed significantly, not just in the field of health generally, but specifically in the lives of the people to whom these health services are intended. So, yes, as we celebrate World Health Day with COVID, let me say tongue in cheek, you couldn't get a more auspicious period of time in which to discuss something as important as World Health Day, because when you have a problem such as the one we have, the magnitude of which we have it in, yes, the discussions around health and what is happening around not just COVID, but other pandemics that are either in the offing or are threatening, or diseases that we deal with on a daily basis, they're things worthy of discussions. But equally worthy of discussions are people who have made it possible for the reality of a better time, even in the midst of all these problems, those who have actually endeavored and have stood out as people who have constantly stood in that gap, they are worthy of mention.
Oh, yes, indeed. And, you know, as we talk about the mess that is Afia House, and the mess that is that ministry, and the mess that is the coordination of everything that we are seeing, we must also make mention of those that are actually doing everything that they can, despite all these things.
Yes, and within those
people
same
go to
ministries.
hospital and they actually find some healthcare worker who is there waiting to serve them.
Yes.
The healthcare worker is not adequately kitted, but they're there. The healthcare worker does not have enough PPEs to deal with COVID-19
But they're
times,
there.
but they're there. The healthcare worker does not have the proper equipment to actually do their job, even to diagnose you. Sending you to a lab, you'll find a lab technician who is sitting there. They don't have everything that they need, but they'll do the best they can to try and conduct the tests. These are people that are required to be recognized on such a day. Even as we look at everything else, the doom and gloom, because it's clearly doom and gloom, there's also now the positive side. The positive side of this is that there are people who today are ICU nurses and doctors who are actually dealing with patients who are in ICU.
Also significantly important is if the individuals we speak of did not do what they do, this entire healthcare system would have collapsed. We would be talking about a healthcare system we once had and before it collapsed. But the fact that it hasn't collapsed is testament to the fact that there are people who are doing what they're supposed to do, and they are ensuring that even if it's the barest minimum of service, that these things are actually provided, despite the avalanche of problems that we seem to be confronting. Yes.
Yeah, indeed. Those are many. And it was good, for example, to notice last year when President Uhuru Kenyatta noticed some people and recognized some people who have done what they are doing in the fight against COVID-19. That was a very good thing, you know.
Yes, it was.
There's some journalists, for example, when Dr. Mercy Korir was recognized, there were healthcare workers, some doctors, some senior doctors, those who have done all that they can to address the issue, that the situation that we're dealing with. Those deserve a mention.
They do. They deserve a little more than mention, if you ask me. Because when you are in a country where every other day you are faced with this daunting realization that the people who are mandated to look after you have abandoned their posts and they're doing anything other than to look after you, when you actually find someone doing what they're supposed to do, it's not only commendable, and it's not just mentioning, we should actually shout it from the rooftops. Yes.
Everybody. Yes, we should do that. There's an organization that is called ZBS Limited that they organize the Quality Healthcare Awards. We'll be speaking with Ms. Grace Ndegwa. She works on this with this organization. They've been organizing the Quality Healthcare Awards. It will be interesting to hear and understand what exactly are these Quality Healthcare Awards? What do they do? How do they go about it? Who do they recognize? Are there different categories in the Quality Healthcare Awards? For example, looking at best clinical officer or best nurse or best doctor or best lab technician, you know, and everybody else who works in the healthcare space. Are they all recognized?
What is this best that they look for?
Yeah, and what do they consider best, right? So keep it right here for that conversation as we also look at then what else is happening. And all the positives aside, let's also take note of the fact that we are actually dealing with a pandemic. And we've all got to be our heroes in dealing with this particular issue. And let's just bring in Grace on the line. And she's joining us on the line now. Grace Ndegwa, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Situation Room. We are glad to have you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
So tell us about these Quality Healthcare Awards. What are they? When did they start? What do they look out for?
Okay, thank you so much. So the Quality Healthcare Kenyan Award is an award system that seeks to recognize and honor excellence in the health sector. It was conceptualized in 2017 as an initiative of Zawadi Brand Solutions. We are currently working in partnership with the Ministry of Health, UNREF Health Africa, and the Kenya Healthcare Federation to ensure that we change the narrative in the health sector and highlight the positive contributions that are there.
Why do you want to change the narrative?
Because in most cases, the information that normally gets to the media and to the public is mostly about the negative aspects of the health sector. So we need to support our own by highlighting that we have so many positive contributions innovation and outstanding performances in the health sector.
Okay, so you have been partnering with the Ministry of Health on this, and you have then gone ahead to seek to identify, recognize, and honor those who are doing great things in the healthcare space. Before we brought you on board, we were asking ourselves, so do you categorize these particular groups, or is it just holistic? And what is it that you look out for in terms of the best? So let's just start with the first one. How many categories are there to these awards?
So we have 17 categories, and the categories are based on a health systems approach. So they look at the health system from a holistic view. So we look at the 6 pillars of the health system. So the categories are based on health information, service delivery, with human resource for health, is health financing, is pharmaceutical products, vaccines and technology, and we also look at leadership and governance. So the categories have been developed in relations to those 6 pillars of the health system. So it takes a health system strengthening approach to improve the quality of care in Kenya. Yes.
When you talk about looking at a healthcare system, one, we are assuming that it exists. Okay, my assumption, I believe, is right, because we do have a health system. But then we also assume that we have the requisite human resource to ensure that the health system is functioning at the most optimal position that it could. And thirdly, I'm assuming, these are assumptions on my part, we are assuming that there is a yardstick for determining when the people who work within this system are doing the very best that they can, despite the hurdles that they may come across. So far, are my assumptions spot on, or have I missed something?
No, they are spot on.
All right. Now, since we are agreed on the spot on, what then do you look for when you consider those that are worthy? Because anyone who is a health worker, by virtue of being a health worker, is worthy. They are doing something. They are frontline workers, as we put them. So what are these things that we look at?
So each category has its own entry guidelines.
Yes.
So we look at the outcomes mostly.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not specifically for like they were saying, the health worker. If we were to celebrate, we would celebrate all of them, and we would love to do that. So in the beginning, we just have a few categories. Mm-hmm. So we wouldn't say that the people we are celebrating as we are celebrating everyone. We are not celebrating everyone, but it's a good step in the right direction.
Okay,
and,
all right. How do you demonstrate this celebration? What do you do in order to make it known that these people are being celebrated?
So we have the awards. We normally call for entries.
Yes.
So we have different categories as I had mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So we have. Can I mention them?
Yep.
Actually, I'm waiting for you to mention them.
So we normally have the People's Choice categories. So those ones are normally different. So those ones we get the public to nominate their hospitals of choice. Mm-hmm. So that category, it's based on the patient experience, because when it comes to the quality of healthcare, we look at the structures, the processes, the outcomes, as well as the patient experience. So for the People's Choice, they seek to get feedback from the patient in terms of the quality of care they receive. So they get an opportunity to nominate their hospitals of choice and also give reasons as to why they believe this particular hospital offers quality of care.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, then after that, we normally have voting.
Okay.
Yes, so it has private hospitals, public hospitals, and faith-based hospitals.
Are they all categorized the same?
No, they're different. There's one for public.
So best public hospital, best private hospital, best faith-based hospital.
Yes.
How do people get to nominate this? Is it on an online form? Do they go to a hospital and drop in at the suggestion box, say their vote?
It's an online. It's online. It's done online.
It's done online. All right. There's a reason why I brought in the individual, the human resource, because systems do not work in a fashion that is divorced from human participation. And even as you categorize them, maybe people who have the best ICU care, emergency care, pediatric care, etc., etc. Do you also consider people who work in the health research field? Or do you consider systems within the health research field?
So currently we don't have a category on those people who are in the research field. Yes, but it's something that can be incorporated as we move forward. As this is our second award. Yes.
There's a reason why I mentioned health research. If you look at, say, some of the hospitals we have, some of the big hospitals, the public as well as the private, one of the things that they have is a training component. Some have a training component that is like fully medical training component for doctors and those who are affiliated to health service provision. Others are for health provision within the category of health workers we refer to as nurses. Now, when you train people in providing these services, one of the things you also have to help train them in understanding is innovations and things that are currently new, trending, and happening in their field. That's why I brought in the element of research, because in the absence of research, you actually cannot talk about improving the health sector or improving the provision of healthcare for whether it is a facility or whether it is for a people. That is why I brought it in. So even as you work around it, may I suggest that you consider this, because it's a very integral part to healthcare provision and the systems of healthcare.
Okay. Actually, we have Student Innovation Award that also looks at research as well. Yes. So that one is for the students who are in the healthcare field. So we have that category.
Okay. Then that is excellent.
It also includes research.
Yes. So it's just a fact of... Yes, go ahead, please.
Oh, I thought you were saying for the researchers themselves. Huh?
Yes.
This one is specifically for those ones who are still in training. To encourage them to be more innovative and to have an open mind.
The other part of healthcare that you would think about is community health workers.
Yes.
Because community health workers are many and they deal directly with people in the community. Are they recognized? Because they also play a very critical role in public health.
Yes. So let me read the other categories. I read for you the three that are people's choice. Now let me tell you the others. Yes. That we look into. So we have, we look at remarkable contributions when it comes to improving access to primary care services. Now that's where the community health workers fall in. We also have advancing maternal and child health. We have a health facility innovation and a student innovation, as I had told you. We also have lifetime achievement. We have use of information technology to improve patient care, and excellence in improving access to essential medicines and vaccines. We have health financing, the use of social media in healthcare. We also have healthcare leadership, as well as the use of media to improve, to promote health and well-being. Now that your people fall in. We also have excellence in healthcare management by county government. And we have a one-off for this period we are in, where we have excellence in response to COVID-19.
Okay.
Yeah.
In all this, where do people like lab technicians fall in? Or the other people now who don't do direct frontline healthcare work, but they actually also work in the health facilities. I'm talking about cleaners, the people who are in hospitality, in the kitchen, people who, those cadres of employees in the healthcare sector. How are they recognized?
For now, the support health workers are not included in these ones, but we should look into that as well.
Well, that's the beauty of such discussions. We get to talk about things that perhaps ought to be looked at. But let me ask this question. What do you purpose these awards for? Okay, when they are awarded, what benefit are the recipients supposed to derive from these awards?
So, for starters, we normally use the Kenya Quality Model for Health to do the assessment for the health facilities, which is a model that has been developed by the Ministry of Health and the partners. So it's a model that is supposed to be the standards that each health facility is supposed to meet. So we would like the health facilities to meet these standards so that we can have equity when it comes to the delivery of health services, so that when you go to hospital A, B, C, D, the standards of health services should be the same. It should not vary from one facility to the other. And as we are celebrating the World Health Day today, the theme is building a fairer and healthier world. So it looks at how the health should be equitable. So the standards should be equal regardless of who you are and which facility you go. So we would like the health facilities to offer quality care that is people-centered, that is safe, that is timely, that is effective, efficient, and it should meet the standards and expectations of the people.
When are these awards held?
Sorry?
When are these awards issued? And when is there like a gala event where you announce the winners, or do you first announce the winners and then you now come and celebrate at a specific event?
They are announced at a gala event. So this time they were supposed to be held today at a gala event, but now they will be held virtually.
Okay.
Yes.
So how is this going to take place? What time, and is it open to everybody, every member of the public, or is it only open to people who work in the healthcare space?
It's open to all the members of the public. So it will be held today from 2 to 3 p.m. Yes, it will be. We can join on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, Quality Healthcare Awards, or on Facebook, on our Facebook page as well.
So it's the Quality Healthcare Awards page on Facebook.
Yes, Quality Healthcare Kenyan Awards.
Okay, Quality Healthcare Kenyan Awards.
Yes.
Finally, as you said, you started these awards because you wanted to change that narrative, change the narrative in the healthcare space, start honoring excellence in the Kenyan healthcare sector. And you say it's because when you have these kind of conversations, then people will start focusing on what needs to be done. Don't you think it's also about time you also give a barb to, those who are dragging us down?
Yes, they are there. And we would like to set a benchmark and share best practices so that they can also meet the standards that those who perform well are able to set.
One last question before we actually sign off. When you consider the health facilities and the services that are provided, do we look at the entire country?
Yes, we do.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. In the time that you've been in operation, is it all right? Is it permissible for you to tell us some of the institutions that have won awards and in what category they have won these awards?
Okay, just a minute. So for last year for the hospitals, we had the faith-based was Tenwek Mission Hospital in Bomet. And for the public hospital, it was Makueni County Referral Hospital. And for the private hospital, it was Mpisha Hospital in Nairobi. So we have Nairobi, Makueni, we have Bomet. And for the county with the best managed healthcare was Makueni County. The healthcare leadership, we had Dr. Rombosia, he's from Kisumu. And best use of social media, we had PS Kenya. Use of information technology, we had an initiative called Damu Sasa that deals with blood ecosystem. The lifetime achievement went to Professor Kamarogo. He's with the World Bank. Student Innovation Project was won by Dr. Juma Theophilus. He's from Kenyatta University. And then the Health Facility Innovation went to Meritini CDF. It's in Mombasa.
Right.
Yes, and we had Excellence in Advancing Maternal and Child Health, Jacaranda Health. It's in Nairobi. And then Award of Excellence in Improving Access to Primary Care Services, Tunza Social Franchise. It's all over the country. The health facilities are across the country.
Okay. Gracie, thank you very much for speaking to us today. And we look forward to hearing who wins this year's awards. The Quality Healthcare in Kenya Awards. Quality Healthcare in Kenya.
Thank you. Quality Healthcare Kenyan Award.
Quality Healthcare Kenyan Awards. They'll be announced. The winners will be announced this afternoon. Grace Ndegwa, thank you very much for speaking to us. She's a co-founder of ZBS Limited and the organizers of this particular award scheme. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, The Situation Room. Time for a break on KTN Home and on online and SpiceFM. We'll be back shortly.
This is The Situation Room.
Have you seen them? Am I live?
Yes, it's a very nice outfit, I must say. Good
Thank
job.
you. Asante sana.
The compliment is well received.
Good morning and thank you. Everyone in Wasingishu was asking me, what channel is SpiceFM?
96.7. Tell them that, right?
Yes, now they know.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have
What
you.
a beautiful studio, my friend.
I've been to other radio stations, but I've never seen anything like this.
Thank you, and it's very nice to be in a modern studio. Absolutely brilliant.
And I have to say, it's a very cool ambiance here in your radio room. Just for our listeners, I think it is below zero in this room here. Very Swiss temperatures.
Okay, so Kenya's biggest conversation. The conversation continues in the next hour. We want to ask ourselves, so people in the entertainment industry, they've basically been petitioning the president to reopen the economy. They're saying, come on, Mr. President, we are suffering. We'll be speaking to two of them. One of them is a comedian. The other one is a DJ. We want to hear from them. What do they want the president to do? When you say reopen the economy, then what are you saying about a fight against COVID-19? Are you saying that we are not going to fight COVID-19? Or what exactly do you want us to do? This is a conversation that we'll be having. We'll be joined shortly by Dr. Ofoneke, the comedian, and DJ Kulodik. He's a director of 33 Limited. And we'll also open up the phone lines for you to join the conversation. What should the president do? Should he heed these calls or should he heed the calls of the healthcare experts? Good morning. It's 8 o'clock.
Spice up your life. 102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
Okay, there is a lot of traffic on the road this morning. Today we started the jam towards Zambezi at Total. Seems this is going to be the new normal, all the way coming towards town. Every new morning coming towards the CBD. This is the situation as is being reported. Also, remember, along Industrial Area Road, there are very many police officers and people are wondering, so what's happening? Mombasa Road has been having issues coming towards the CBD. The South B, getting to South B at 7:15 a.m. It's now almost 8 a.m. and somebody has not yet arrived at Nyayo Stadium. South B, 7:15. 45 minutes later, yet to get to Nyayo Stadium. That is what is happening. Crazy traffic on Mombasa Road today. Please be patient. There's a contractor on site doing the road, narrowed the lanes, and it has rained. Thika Road, there was an accident on Moranga Road just near KICD earlier, which was causing some big issue there on the road. Just be careful with that as well. And then everybody else who's traveling towards the CBD from Kiambu Road is busy as is expected. We've also seen people who are talking about Langata Road from town to Bomas via Upper Hill, Bagathi, Langata. It's a real deal. That's the way to go. Good morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound.
All right, it's 2.5 minutes after 8. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. It's a Situation Room. Nduoko is not in today, but CT Muga and Eric Latif are here with you. CT, as we begin this hour, today's proverb, tafadhali.
Without a leader, black ants are confused.
Without a leader, black ants are confused. This is the second time you have decided to bring back this particular proverb. I think mhubiri leo kuna mahali amelenga.
Yes.
Mhubiri wa siku kuna mahali analenga. Na utatuambia. In due course.
Yes.
In due course. Last week, we had a conversation with somebody in the entertainment industry. This was a pianist, and he's one of those people who have really just been earning their living by entertaining people. Performing at restaurants, performing at weddings, performing at public functions, performing at people's functions, whether it's a birthday, whether it's a wedding, whether it's even a funeral. And that is how they earn their living. And he was here and he was saying, they have launched this particular petition, and they went out onto the street saying, Mr. President, unlock our country. Their complaint was simple, that when you say lockdown, when you say bring the curfew back to 8 p.m., when you say avoid gatherings, what you've basically said is, you people who've been earning from this, stop earning. And for the last 1 year, this has been the complaint, especially for DJs. If there are no nightclubs, if you have no major gatherings of people are over 30, well, it got into a point where we're at least having 100 people. But there are no weddings. All those had been affected, and the people in the entertainment industry had seriously been affected. Musicians, you're talking about DJs, you're talking about stand-up comedians, you're talking about everybody else who supplies this particular industry. They suffered. And they were saying, this one now is basically just planting another nail on our coffin.
They are right, really. Because one of the things that COVID has effectively done, it has sounded the death knell for very many industries right across the world. Whether it's manufacturing, whether it's commerce, whether it's entertainment. And it has even put state on just day-to-day normal social activities. It hasn't favored any aspect of our lives. It has attacked us on all fronts. But it is especially dire for people whose entire existence is dependent on people socializing and doing the things that they do normally. Whether it's going to cafes, whether it is going to eateries that have musicians, whether it's going to cultural establishments that provide music at night. Whatever it is, this particular industry has been by far the hardest hit because they depend on just that.
Yep.
What they manufacture is a product that needs to be consumed. Yes, you can consume it on your own, but it's best consumed when you're in gatherings.
In the social setting.
And that setting has been banished.
Yes.
So it therefore means that there's a very direct correlation to the end of their particular industry. Or should we say a full stop? Because you could say that it's a hiatus and that we can anticipate that there'll be change. There are changes.
Yeah.
But the disruptions in the industry, at the very least, have been profound. Yes.
Big time. However, the question is, when the people in this industry go ahead and say, you know what, Mr. President, we want you to lift the lockdown, what exactly are they asking for? The lockdown was informed by something. The lockdown is informed by the fact that we are going through a third wave. The lockdown is informed by the fact that healthcare workers and those in charge of the healthcare space have said, looking at the numbers that we are seeing of people seeking hospitalization, if we continue with this trend, we are going to get overwhelmed. The system will not be able to handle people. So how do you address that? You address that by saying, introduce what the same healthcare workers and researchers have been calling the circuit breaker. Get to a point where drastically reduce the interactions, human interactions, so that you reduce the spread and flatten the curve of the infection of COVID-19.
Yes.
Now, for you to do that, you have got to basically tell people stay indoors.
You do, but there's a second phase to it. The discussion was a bit different before we had vaccines that had been found to be efficacious. So it was now just the basics: wash your hand, don't wash your hand, take a walk, don't take a walk, basic things, all right? But now we're at a point where you can add something to that particular bucket list. You can say, folks, in addition, please get tested so that you know. In addition, seek vaccination, because this will help bolster your immune system, and it'll give you a very decent fighting chance should the virus visit you. So now, this is a conversation that must be had, but it becomes a bit difficult when you're talking about something that you need to add to that list, when the basics in that list haven't even been adhered to. Because there's something that the government can do. It's something ensure compliance. And one could argue that they do, but in their attempts to ensure compliance, a lot of harm is also done in that. So it's an ongoing discussion, and what those in the entertainment industry have brought in is yet a position that they have taken, and they must be listened to. But other discussions around what they're demanding must also take place in addition to what they're saying.
Let's bring in some of these people in the entertainment industry. Joining us, the first person to join us is a DJ. He's a director of 33 Limited. Good morning, DJ.
Morning, Eric. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Now, for the benefit of everybody who would like to know your name, the name is spelled Queelodic. How do you pronounce that name?
So, simply put, it's Queelodic.
There you go. DJ Queelodic.
I'm actually interested in finding out why it is. This isn't the name on your ID, national ID, is it?
No, it is not.
Okay, good.
So
this is your stage name.
That's my stage name, yeah, that's correct.
All right. And there must be a logic behind it. What is the logic behind this Queelodic name?
Well, actually, it's a very long story. So, and it's very technical.
Brief form, Baba.
So briefly is so if you look at a DJ would know this. So what we do as DJs when you're playing music is actually you set up the music. So when you set up the music, you basically set a cue point for your music. So that was the inspiration coming from it. So the logic was just an addition to the name. It just keeps it cool, vibrant, so to speak.
And it's melodious, from melody.
Yeah.
DJ Queelodic, director of 33 Limited. Thank you very much for joining us. So you are among those who are pushing the president and saying, Mr. President, lift the lockdown. Why do you want the president to lift the lockdown?
Well, actually, to be honest with you, Eric, I mean, it's been a year of on and off, and a lot of us in the industry are really, really suffering financially, I think mentally right now. I mean, going a year without active work is not something good you can talk about. I mean, a lot of us have made careers of entertaining people in clubs, in events. So the on and off has really affected our ability to basically put money in our pocket.
Okay.
Let me ask this question. I ask it from a position of ignorance. When we had a semi-lockdown, as in it was a curfew. You were told you could work up to a certain point. Did that really help, or had the harm already been done to your industry?
Actually, two things happened when we had a semi-lockdown, I can put it that way, is that it allowed most of us, ideally, to go back to work. But you notice not everybody had the opportunity to really express their talent out there. So it was a solution that was not 100% effective, but at least it got most of us working, which was a good thing. So, I mean, if you compare before COVID and during the semi-lockdown, I would actually, if I was to put a number to it, we saw a decline of about almost 40 to 50% in terms of the number of work that DJs were doing. So in as much as it was not what would I wanted to see, but it was better than nothing.
The other person who's joining us on the line is Dr. Foneke. He is a comedian. Dr. Foneke, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's good to have you on the show. Welcome to the Situation Room. So among the people who've, of course, been hard hit is stand-up comedians and comedians. You perform at social events, weddings, and such other places. So you've also been hard hit by this.
I can say point is not even stand-up comedians alone, but basically anybody who has a trade in events and things. Because you see, our work basically entails us engaging directly with our crowd or our audience at whichever time. And of course, when you talk about lockdown and you talk about cancelling events and everything, that means basically the chain of income is basically cut off, because, I mean, who am I talking to? And if it's not some of us who, by the grace of God, God has blessed us enough to be able to get gigs even via Zoom, not everybody is able to do that. It's only the top comedians or top MCs have been able to do that, which I feel is rather really unfair. And I think by the time, for me personally, by the time the president was literally cancelling or putting the curfew and the lockdown, he immediately received 5 phone calls from 5 clients who had weddings to do, who told me, Foneke, unfortunately, we cannot continue. I had 2 concerts to MC. I had a corporate event to do in Mombasa. Basically, in a span of 20 minutes, I had exactly 7 events cancelled, which were not bringing me nothing less than an income of nothing less than 100,000. So trust me, explain to me what am I supposed to pay my landlord, that that I might be late on my rent this month simply because the curfew was put down. The regulations were put down. So that's the kind of situation that not only me, many of my colleagues in the industry are literally going through.
Dr. this one is not a pleasant situation to be in, but do you think the president was justified in doing what he was doing?
I would not want to quote his words. This is what he said the other day after him and the right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga, after they did a tour of the new bus stop. They did a press conference, and this is what he said, that the curfew and the lockdown and the rules he put in place was after advice from his committee. And I am disappointed to actually hear that we have...
We are losing you, Foneke. And as he gets back on the line, let's just continue with DJ Kulodic. So the president came and said, this is after the advice. And even the first time when he was announcing this, he said, yes, from the advice from the National Security Council, coupled with the advice from the National Emergency Response Committee on COVID-19 and the task force and the consultation with the Council of Governors, they have decided to come up with these measures. So there was some thought process that had gone into this. Are you questioning any of those that actually advised the president? And are you saying, I think you gave the president the wrong advice?
Well, I think speaking from the industry, and I think one of the things that we are really struggling with is that we do understand that COVID is a real threat, health-wise and public health. It's a really big problem. However, we are looking for sort of like a middle ground that allows us within the industry to also make a living. Okay? So that is what you're asking of the president, the presidency, and the people around you, is that in as much as you're putting all these things in effect in terms of you want to basically, flatten the curve and make sure that the infection rates are actually going down. But we're asking Mr. President, what about us telling us to go home and lock down? We have no other means of making money apart from entertaining people or going out there and interacting with people. Okay, so we know. I mean, if you look at the last time when the decision was actually, that was last year, I think around March, when lockdown started, and at that time there was a lot of concerted effort in giving solutions to people who basically had no income. We know it was not done in the right way. We'd have actually seen a much better way of doing it. I mean, there was an allocation of 100 million going out to artists in entertainment. But unfortunately, that money didn't trickle down to the people who need it the most.
How much did you get?
But actually, I can give you the balance. It's actually 0.000 cents. I got nothing.
Do you know anyone? Do you know any DJ who received a shilling out of that 100 million?
I'll be honest with you. I have no name that I can actually call and say, I know this guy who got this money. Okay?
All right.
That's unfortunate thing about this. But you could tell that, I mean, in as much as we didn't get anything trickled down, at that moment in time, the government actually had a plan in place that they shared and said, this is what you're going to be able to do to the people who are not going to be able to make ends meet. But this time around, what is different is that we have gone over probably a year without work. Right now, the government has completely shut down any activity around entertainment, and there is no indication whatsoever as to when it's going to be lifted or what are some of the things that the government is putting in place to be able to advise the industry that, guys, you know what, this is our action plan to get you back to work. That is our issue.
So essentially what you're saying is you understand, I'm paraphrasing here, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that you understand what the president is saying and there's merit in it. However, is it possible for them to consider the circumstances that you and those in your field find themselves in, and that despite COVID, find a way in which you can actually function and work? Is that what you're saying?
That is true, partly true. The other thing is also, because I mean, the one thing we're advocating for is an opening up of the economy. We want our country to be unlocked. And the reason why we are saying that is this, that we know that those are given by Ministry of Health around how do you make sure that within your entertainment space, you're implementing, the COVID protocol. So it's about, sanitizing, it's about spaces within patrons sitting in. And a lot of bars, club events took this thing seriously, and they invested heavily in putting some of those measures in place. And what we know is that we really, really tried as an industry to make sure that we're keeping within the MOH guidelines. But now we feel that we are being isolated, that we are the guys who are probably super spreaders, which is ideally is not the case. And I'll be talking about sort of some of the things that we know happened during that period. So the super spreaders in terms of, the political rallies that are happening at the time, so on and so forth. So us, we feel like we're being isolated and being blamed, so that is not our fault. That is our primary issue.
You see, there's a fundamental difference between political rallies and social gatherings that are found in places like eateries. Political rallies aren't there every single day. But places where people eat, people get entertainment, they're opened on a daily basis. So, yes, I know the optics of those rallies are daunting and they contribute significantly to spreading the virus. But the truth of the matter is that any place where people gather, the likelihood of the virus being spread is profound. But now let me ask you the question. If you were to suggest to the government what it is that they could do to A, ensure the safety of the citizens and yet get people to work, you as an industry, what would you like to see them do or enforce? Something that would A, keep the safety and also ensure that you people are back to work and can earn a living.
I think simply put is the role that administration can actually play within this, okay? So I'll be speaking specifically to probably the bar setup, because I think that is where a lot of us do make our money from. So our resident DJs in clubs and even the guys who are doing events. So we know that the protocols that were shared initially by the Ministry of Health actually make a lot of sense in terms of putting together those, what is required for you to be able to basically maintain social distance, so on and so forth. So what you're saying is that with guided protocols in place and strict adherence to these protocols, we believe we can be able to basically do what? Manage and ensure that this virus does not spread. If you're talking about the fact that where two or more people are gathered in a special setting, be it in a political rally, be it in a funeral, be it in a wedding, be it in a marketplace, it is actually true. But the reality is that unless you're saying that we are completely locking down the country, it means that there's nobody leaving their homes. We are still facing the risk of infection. Our only ask is that, similar to the way that the markets right now are being allowed, the transportation during the day, so buses, matatus, so on and so forth, people are roaming and walking the streets from literally 4 a.m. up until 8 p.m. when the curfew is not in place. And that particular period is still a risk because people are interacting with each other. However, we know that the ministry has been advising, guys, you know what, that even if you're in the street, make sure that you have your mask on, okay? Make sure that you're not greeting people or hugging people, you're fist bumping. And that is what we need to obviously talk about and say that, fair enough. If you go into an eatery, if you go into a bar, then what are these test MOH guidelines that also still equally gives you a safe space to operate and avoid any risk of infection? So as you're asking that, MOH had come up with very good guidelines that us within the industry are more than willing to implement and make sure that our people are following the rules.
The last time we had a conversation, I asked our guests to look at what's happening globally. What's happening in other parts of the world is, yes, there are those guidelines that have been put in place by the government that have been issued. And at the same time, governments reach to a point where they actually order a lockdown. Kenya is not different. What would you expect that Kenya would then be able to say, all right, let's just continue living the way we are living. We have a third wave that's coming. People have been expected to wash their hands and observe the guidelines, but we have a wave and more people are going to hospital. But let's just remind you of what you need to do. Why would you expect that the government would continue doing things that way where more and more people are going to hospital? Wouldn't that be irresponsible?
Well, and again, I think I probably beg to differ a little bit. And the reason I say that is, and I'll compare this maybe to the more developed countries, and I'm not blaming our government for not being able to keep at par, is that you notice with these countries, I think in the US or in the European Union, what they've actually done is allow their citizens to be able to get help. So they're facilitating their livelihoods, through advancement of monies and I mean, social amenities are actually very easily available and probably at no cost, from healthcare, so on and so forth. We, unfortunately, are in a space whereby our government cannot be able to afford to give that to each and every member of our society. However, what you're saying is that we're comparing basically the bad of two evils. Are we then saying that we can be able to say, fair enough, we understand you, Mr. President, and we're willing to adhere to your lockdown measures, and I'm going to sit in my house. Number one, since I have no means of income, it means that I cannot be able to provide food for me and my family. Okay? Number two is that the landlord at the end of the month is going to expect me to pay rent. I have no means of income. I have no way of doing that. So my landlord is not going to come and tell me, you know what, you have to move out. Because even for him, he has mortgages and loans I need to pay. And it is through the rent that I pay that is able to actually pay some of those loans and mortgages. So it means it's a whole connected system. It's a web. But if the government comes and tells me that, you know what, I have no solution for how you're going to get food on your table, but because you need to flatten the curve, please stay home. Okay? So for me, I think, if you look at the two of what evils, number one is COVID, as bad as it is, has a recovery rate of over 99%. That is the reality that you're seeing actually coming out there. But if you look at something like hunger, hunger, you're literally going to die. There's no recovery. If you don't eat, you die. Okay? If you don't pay your rent, you're going to be evicted. You have to be on the street. And again, it negates the entire plan of saying, guys, lock in, stay at home. If I'm evicted, I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be exposed, me and my family. So you see, there needs to be a balance, a way that the entire system works. That is what you're asking the government to sit down with the stakeholders and let's have a discussion around it.
DJ Q Logic and Dr. Ofwaneke are on the line with us this morning. We are talking about the effect of this current lockdown to those who ply the entertainment industry. Many of them are saying, look, our livelihoods, our source of livelihoods have basically just been shut out by the government, and they want to have a conversation with the government, asking the president, lift the lockdown, find ways in which we can actually work together during this particular period. Do you agree with them? Do you not? We'd like you to call us and tell us. 0719 012 600. in the meantime, let's take a break. And as we go into the break, remember, there is the portal, Standard Jobs Portal by the Standard Media Group. jobs.standardmedia.co.ke. Log on to that portal and you'll be able to find all the jobs that have been listed by the Standard Group, and also not just by the Standard Group, but listed there on the Standard Jobs Portal. You can also sign up for a newsletter or SMS service. Customized messages will be coming to you periodically. Good morning, 26 minutes after 8. Time for a break. We'll be back shortly.
102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. Spice FM.
It's getting hot in here.
Oh, everybody steals. It's better a thief who brings something small back. And I say to myself, there's no better thief. A thief is a thief, period.
All those bribes, how much they are getting per year, how much inconvenience they are causing, as much as you call it a small case, it's worth it to be convicted.
The truth is, we are a tribal nation. Because if we were not tribal, and I want to go back to this, you cannot continue walking around with a mug which is clean outside and it's rotten inside.
We have become a fuliza country. We have mortgaged our country because of debt.
You've got one chef working and the assistant chef wakati anatakana koroge unga nini hayuko.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's that kind of day in Nairobi. Gonna be light rains throughout the day in Nairobi, but rising to 25 degrees later on in the day and dropping to lows of 17, currently at 17. Other parts of the country, Nakuru is mostly cloudy right now at 18 degrees Celsius, gonna rise to 26 and then lows of 13. Nyeri, rainy presently at 17, rising to 23 and then lows of 14. Eldoret, mostly cloudy presently at 17, gonna rise to 24 and then lows of 12. Kisumu, highs of 30, lows of 19. Kakamega, highs of 30, lows of 16. Presently sunny at 20. Mombasa, light rains at 28 degrees. Highs of 32 and lows of 25. Malindi, rain showers at 28 degrees. Highs of 32 and lows of 27. Kampala, Uganda, 25 is the high, lows of 19 later today. In Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, highs of 30 and lows of 24. Presently, light rains at 25. Johannesburg, South Africa, mostly sunny presently at 12 degrees, going to rise to 20 and then lows of 12. Lagos, Nigeria, highs of 34 and lows of 27. Kinshasa, highs of 32, lows of 25. Beijing in China is presently sunny at 20, highs of 19. Later, it's actually going to drop to 19 and then drop further to 3. In Paris, clear skies right now at minus 2 degrees, highs of 9 and lows of 2. In London, it's 1 degree presently, 8 degrees are the highs and lows of 2. And New York, clear skies at 12 degrees, going to rise to 21 and then drop down to lows of 8.
Sugar and spice and everything nice, everything nice. SpiceFM.
Well, it's been chaotic on Mombasa Road this morning, okay? It has just been chaotic on Mombasa Road because it's raining and then there's a construction going on and then there's the reduction in terms of the number of lanes and all that happened early in the morning. So people were taking very, very long on Mombasa Road. Somebody was in South B and took 45 minutes to get to Nyayo Stadium roundabout. So wherever you are on Mombasa Road, just be careful. There was an accident earlier where a bus had hit a pedestrian at near Aqua Plaza on Mombasa Road. That's near the KICD. That also was causing some issue and some serious traffic. Kiambu Road into town. You know what happens on Kiambu Road every morning. It's happening again today. Thika Road coming towards town is also busy. Langata Road coming towards town. There is a construction of the interchange at Timor. So that is also causing a bit of a snarl, but it's moving. Jogoo Road into town is not so bad until you get to Landis Road, and then now that starts building up as usual. If there's anything else that you think we need to alert everybody else about, SpiceFM KE is our Twitter handle and our SMS number is 40127.
spice up your life.
Half past 8. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. In the room with you is CT Muga and Eric Latif. We are live streaming the show on SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, www.spicefm.co.ke. We are live on SpiceFM around the country, and we are also live on KTN Home around the country. Joining us on the line this morning, two entertainers. One is comedian Dr. Ofweneke, and the other one is DJ Q Lodic, director of 33 Limited. The entertainment entrepreneurs want the lockdown to be lifted, and we've heard from them. And then we've asked you, do you agree with them? Let's go to the phone lines as we continue the conversation with the entertainers. Solomon in Mombasa, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very, very fine.
Right. So you're hearing what the entertainers are telling us.
Yes.
DJ and the comedian are basically saying we've been earning from this particular industry, now we are not. What do you say to them?
First, the government should like to support them, but there's usually a problem. One, when it comes to these entertainers, they should have a strong association. Maybe you can have a bar, restaurants. Maybe you can just have bar and entertainment owners, when they can have a strong association. So even government to fund them, they have a best way to channel this money.
Okay.
And also these DJs, the entertainers, that is the DJs, the comedians, the MCs, yeah, because all of them fall in the same category. Because currently there is none.
Is that so? Is that so, Dr. Ofweneke? Do you have an association?
A strong
yes,
one.
we do.
What
is happening is, and I think it's an archaic problem that we've been facing. Like if you remember back in the days, I'm a lawyer by profession. By the time I told my father that I'm going into comedy, it took a lot of time for him to recognize that this is actually a career, which I've been doing for the past 13 years. When they released, the first time there was lockdown, when they released a list of essential people, when they released, there was a part B where they said people who are not that important yet, and artists were actually number one. You get, and it is very unfortunate. You get, Nigeria, the Nollywood makes Nigeria an average of $300 million in terms of income revenue. Why is the Kenyan industry not recognized as important? You get.
Okay.
So I understand his point about us having a body that fights for us, and yes, we do.
What's it called?
But even just being recognized as an important element of the economy is a problem. Then how do you expect even our body to be listened to? And that is what we are trying to make noise about.
I guess what I'm hearing Solomon saying, Dr. Ofweneke,
Yes.
is that if you had a strong lobby, then you'd have lobbied and mainstreamed your industry.
Now that is what we are doing now.
Okay.
Now this is part of it now. He has a point, and this is just part of it, because our conversations have been going around from bar owners, liquor stores, to Bouncers Association, to Comedians Association, Top MCs Association. All of us are in this conversation together for the first time ever. So we are trying to lobby. We're trying to create a powerful body that next time, God forbid, another situation arises, at least we'll have one voice that will be fighting for us. And this is what we are actually doing right now.
I see. Let's hear from Anthony, also in Mombasa. Anthony, good morning.
Good morning, Eric. How are you?
Very well.
Dr. Ofweneke, how are you?
I'm good, sir. Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank God.
I think I feel for the DJ and the Dr. Ofweneke because I've seen it firsthand and I've experienced what they're experiencing and others are experiencing. I was in Nairobi over the Easter on official duty, and I happened to meet a friend. This guy was behind in rent in 3 months. He was a bar manager. He was behind in rent, and at that particular time I was at his house. He told me, Tony, I have nothing on my pocket, not even in my M-Pesa, not even in my account. I have zero. And there's nothing in the house to eat. What do I do? I'm locked in Nairobi. I cannot even go to Sharks. What do I do? I have my family. I felt for him. My scenario, I took a loan. There's a college was opened near my home area, and the students needed hostels. So I took a loan. I built 3-4 rooms. And expecting when the students get into the rooms, I'll be able to pay the loan, complementing my salary and the part of my salary and the rental income. My salary has been reduced. The student came into the houses when the schools were opened. This month they vacated. They said, we cannot stay in the hostels, yet the college is closed. We are going home. How do I pay my loan? How? So this lockdown should be opened. I think the biggest solution to this lockdown is enforcement for social distance. Let us have all matatus forced to remove the extra seats, like some buses have done in Nairobi.
Exactly.
Let's have them. They remain with 8 seats only. Let's have the police do their work. Let the eateries and the bars be open, because these bars are feeding millions of Kenyans.
So enforcement is the solution for you. Do not restrict anymore.
Yes. Let the police go to the bars. Let them make sure the social distance is there. The hotels, the social distance is there. The matatus are the super spreaders.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is it possible then for the citizenry to also enforce these laws by ensuring that you don't get into a matatu that is already overcrowded?
That is a difficult thing for the citizens.
Why is it difficult? And it is your health that we're talking about.
Some of them, me as Tony, I will want to do it, and I've done it several times. I've said I want to board a matatu that is full. Sometimes I board a matatu, I'm among the first 8. Then the conductor insists on putting more passengers. Several times I've been told to come down the matatu because I've refused for the 9th passenger to enter. Sometimes the fellow passengers, they don't support you. They say, there's no corona, let us go. So I'll take care of myself. How about the others?
The others. So you want the law enforcers to do the law enforcement?
Yes, time is running out. I want to go home. So I cannot stay in the matatu stage until 10 p.m. from 6 when I leave work. Because if I'm waiting maybe for a matatu that is keeping the social distance, I may stay there for the whole night waiting.
We hear you, Anthony.
Take a taxi I cannot afford.
We hear you, Anthony. Thank you very much for your call. Asante sana. Let's hear from Barak in Ruaka. Barak, good morning.
Good morning. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, so these are my views as per what you guys are discussing. Once we heard of, if we continue to do things normally,
yes,
this disease will treat us abnormally.
That's true.
You know, the lockdown just came because of the disease that is corona. And as Kenyans, we've got a lot of diversities of which we can maybe generate our livings. Like my brother, Dr. Feneke, just said he was once a lawyer by profession, right? And maybe his company is maybe having his group maybe 10 people entertaining 500 people.
Yes.
So why would you endanger a number of 500 people as compared to a group of 10 people? Why can't you just maybe get another diversity of how you can manage yourself, maybe in regards to your small profession, and leave out these 500 people entertainers? Maybe you want to entertain for a shorter period of time. Because it is an abnormal situation, just to curb these things.
Barak, I'm sure they will tell you they've thought of all that.
Can I answer?
Just answer him, Dr. Feneke.
Barak, sir.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Now this is it. First of all, remember when the president was giving the guidelines on the latest lockdown. First of all, there was no definite duration of time of how long this was going to last. You get? So first of all, he said until further notice, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Then number 2, yes, we have thought, and I'm telling you, there are hundreds, like DJ Cream de la Cream. I think he's an engineer. Somebody like Wahoo is a mathematician. It's not like we're not saying that we're not. Yes, we are learned, but this is what we have been doing as a source of living for the past maybe more than a decade. So you don't expect me right now to just now go dust my legal papers and now start knocking on Barak and co-advocates. First of all, you'll put me into a country. Let's start from there.
I don't think if I meant that. Yeah, you're right, but I don't think I meant that.
What do you mean?
What I'm saying is this.
Okay, I think my point was clear, but my last point on this is
right.
Yes, sir.
Brothers and sisters, we tend to think inside the box and outside the box, but at times we must think without the box now. And I guess we need to look at the more of the number of people. Maybe you may be entertaining maybe 1,000 people, and your company maybe you guys are 20. So at a time, indefinite time, maybe it may mean 1 week or 10 years. Please let us kindly. There is one of my friends I know. He's also in that same industry. He left. He opened a kiosk, not a kiosk really, but a saloon. And he's really doing well. Maybe we can ask, or maybe we can advise our brothers and sisters who are working on the same industries, maybe to divert their efforts, maybe on doing other things.
And then come back to this after.
As we watch on this after.
Okay, thank you, Barak. Let's hear from Ruth. Let's hear from Ruth first before you respond to DJ and Dr. Foneke. Ruth, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Okay, first of all, I really sympathize, of course, with the entertainers in this country. This has really been a very difficult time for them. Going almost a whole year without some steady source of income is not something easy, and I really applaud them. Secondly, I also applaud them, of course, for coming up with very innovative ways to earn income. We've seen so many artists going virtual to earn income, and I really think that really tells how innovative and versatile our artists are. So kudos to them. And then lastly, I really want to support their fight, their fight for the economy to be open. I totally understand the need why the government locked down the economy, the lockdown, especially to avert some of these complications that are coming with COVID. So maybe my 2 cents to contribute to their discussion when they're going to the government is that they should go to the government with solution-based mindset. Let them not go with coming up, telling the government their problems and all that. What they need to go is just go to the government. These are the problems we have, but these are the solutions that we think can really aid the industry and of course the government in terms of containing COVID situation. Let them look for solutions that work for them, because the government guidance is just general. It cannot go to specific and to individual.
Yeah.
So it is them who knows how they can really mitigate some of these complications or some of these infections.
They know their industry best. They know where their shoe is pinching.
Exactly. Yeah. So let them sit down, come up with their solution. When they go there, stick to your solution. Stick to all the. Don't go veer off the discussion like I hear some of them are saying about rallies and all that. You will just derail. Stick to your solutions, present them to I am sure someone in the government will listen to their solutions and their needs.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ruth. Let's hear from Paul now from Nairobi, and then now we come back and get the responses from the entertainers. Paul, good morning.
Good morning, Eric. Good morning, City.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to the gentlemen online. Now, two things briefly, very controversial, but then important, I guess. I hear what Barak is saying when he's saying that these are abnormal times, and all of us need to take care of the abnormalities that come with this situation.
Yeah.
I blame two people for the situation we are in. We are in this kind of a situation because of the government, And we are in this kind of a situation because of the people. Now they say it's a government by the people, so it's an oxymoron that I'm talking about two people. Now, but then the thing is, let's start with the government because it's easy. Everybody's blaming the government, so I'll be a good boy by blaming the government. There are certain things that they should have done to cushion the members of the public. However, they did not do it. You would have expected that with the first wave having come and gone, and they could have done better, but they did what they did. You would expect that they would have enhanced it, but then they did not. A quick one that they can do. I don't like blaming without giving possible solutions. We are told we lose 2 billion shillings. Now, what that means is we know at the beginning of the day we have 2 billion shillings. We know at the end of the day we don't have 2 billion shillings. Now, when we knew we have 2 billion shillings, it means we know where it is. So how about go back to where it is and get the people paid for the 2 billion that is lost? This can come in and help with coronavirus response.
Right.
So that is just the one thing I can say. The government, how about suspending this nice democracy and all, we already know money is getting lost. I know we have had this discussion in this show before. But if something drastic can happen, I'm sure the whole citizenry will be behind the president and the government for doing the right thing. Now, coming back to the people, today we are specifically talking about our brothers and sisters in the entertainment industry. I think we also have to be careful to take care of our own selves. It is not always that the government will have solutions for you. I know in any profession you are told earn a little and keep a little something for the rainy day. I'll give you my own example. I might not be the best financial manager, but I lost my job a year ago. I have paid my rent through and through, and I still keep doing a few things for my family here and there. It is a sad situation, but I also understand that if this economy was opened like we are saying, even those people you want to entertain will not be there. Because a lot of people, without universal health care, a lot of people will not be able to manage the pandemic if it increases. Therefore, one of the lessons that even us as citizens we should have got is when the economy was partially open, people should have been saving for the rainy day, which is now. But what happens, and especially for the entertainment industry, the self-declared celebrities, you have to buy Louis Vuitton and stuff like that, so you don't keep it for the rainy day. Why is that the government's problem?
Thank you, Paul.
Anyway,
well, let's.
So I've given the entertainers solutions. They are agitating for an open up of the economy. What they need to do, if it does come, please remember the rainy day. Thank you.
Okay, so Dr. Ofoneke and DJ Kulodi, you guys, number one, let's just start from Paul. Says, first of all, as individuals, had you been saving for a rainy day, or have you been living beyond your means?
Sorry, doctor, go on.
No, go first. It's fine.
Folks,
DJ,
look, I'm not an entertainer, but I think Eric is asking an unfair question. Ask yourself, do you earn enough money to even save?
I think that is where we need to come from.
Dr. Ofoneke lost 700 Gs over a weekend, bana.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on, DJ.
Yes, so I think when it comes to the matter of saving, and I completely agree with Paul. So, yes, if you look at the class of entertainers that we have in this country, and this right from the DJs to artists, cut across comedians, MCs, so on and so forth, we sort of like have different tiers of talent in the country. So we have the top tiers of guys who are earning, I think, the big bucks, okay? And then now we have sort of the middle up to the guys who are sort of like trying to get into the industry and getting a foot in, earning probably 1,000 shillings here, 2,000 shillings there. So I think it's a mixed bag. But again, over and above that, I think I agree with Paul. There's a need for us to obviously understand from a financial perspective, how are we managing our money? And yes, I know some of the things that we've been trying to do, obviously within the industry in closed groups, unfortunately, is then how do you start advising people on how do you manage? Me, I've been in corporate for close to 15 years. So I do understand how do you navigate through finances, so on and so forth.
Right.
So some of the things we're trying to obviously do is advise our young upcoming artists in terms of how do you take care of yourself financially.
Okay.
I mean, lockdown has been happening for over a year, and some of us are still, you're still paying rent, you're still paying for office space. We are managing our expenses as we go on.
Yeah.
But it's very few of us who can be able to obviously do that. The pandemic came at a time when nobody really thought this was ever going to happen. So the guys who are buying Louis Vuitton, which again it is within the right because it is their hard-earned money, which is still fine, are now getting to the state whereby, you know what, maybe I should have put a little bit more money in a safe place for me to be able to take care of some of these unforeseen issues. Yeah. But I think it's a valid point.
Fair enough and very well said. I think in terms of coming up with an association then that does capacity building and helps all the members navigate through everything, financial management, business management and all, is important. Which also brings me to that issue of the association, which Paul and all the other callers have said. If you had a strong voice, and I think if you just look, there are very many associations that you guys belong to. When we were speaking to the pianist the other day, he was representing some lobby group. You guys are representing some lobby group. There's a Pubs, Entertainers and Restaurant Owners Association of Kenya. There are many. Which of those is like the umbrella or the stronger voice that you can use to reach out to the government and have the conversation? If we talk about hotel and tour operators, they have various associations, but then there's the Kenya Tourism Federation, for example, which is a member of the Private Sector Alliance. So when they sit under KEPSA, they have a table under KEPSA and they have a way that they reach out to the government. Do you have any formal way of engaging with the government? Dr. Afweneka, you can go. Okay, bad line there with Dr. Afweneka. So, DJ.
Okay. So, and I think one of the things that we are learning, and it's a fairly hard lesson to be learned at this moment in time, is that we do not have a strong association. One body.
Oh, we've basically just lost both of them. The conversation continues right here on SpiceFM. We've lost the line with DJ and Dr. Afweneka. Brian, just try and get them back as we continue with this. So that issue of the what they do, how they come together with a lobby, with a strong lobby. I think this is the purpose of having such lobbies. It's to advocate for what you're doing. It's to advance the conversation of what you're doing. It's to see how you can engage with the people that you want to engage with and understand how best then do you reach out to the government to have a conversation with them. Let's hear from Samson. Samson, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Very
Fine,
well.
Thank you.
Good. I'm sorry we lost DJ and the doctor there. But then my take is this. We cannot all just point a finger at the government, especially the entertainment industry.
Yes.
And this is why. After the first lockdown, and things tend to, quote-unquote, normalize, and the hotels and the pubs and the bars opened, we forgot that the virus is still here with us. For those that went to the bars and the pubs, me included, the only measure that was taken was getting sanitized at the door, and that was it. You get into a pub and it's fully packed, you hardly find a space to sit. So anyone that, including me, that went into a pub and didn't find a place to sit and still managed to find a space to sit, failed. Okay?
Yeah.
The DJs that didn't help the pubs and the bars to tell them, you know what, yes, the capacity is enough. I think we should stop people from coming in to just enforce social distancing. They failed. Okay? And not just us. Anyone that traveled after the first lockdown, and you go to the airport and you're maintaining social distance as you check in, but then squeezed in the same plane at the end of the day, failed. Okay? The only industry that almost tried is pretty much the matatu industry because, the police were there to almost enforce. So we could have spacing in the matatus and the buses, but there was no spacing on the trains. There was no spacing in the planes. There was Surely no spacing in the bars and the pubs. I can tell you that for sure. So now, when we go back and point at the government and say it's being unfair, we also need to remember that we have a responsibility, and we acted, in getting here. We played a part in getting to where we are right now. So we need to acknowledge that as a people first, and the entertainment industry also needs to accept that at some point they did play a part in getting us to. Exactly. So as they go there, they need to say, hey, we understand that we dropped the ball, but this is where we can improve. Okay, we all have to acknowledge that we dropped the ball first before we can actually say this is how we move forward. But if we point the finger without acknowledging that we went wrong, then we will not solve the problem.
Yeah, true.
If they say, okay, sure, let's go back and reopen the bars, what then?
That's very true. That's very true. Samson, thank you very much for joining us and for those insights and as well as that advice. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, The Situation Room, having a conversation with Dr. Ofweneke and DJ Q Lodic, two players in the entertainment scene. Time for us to take a break on KTN Home, but you can switch over to SpiceFM 94.4 Nairobi, Mombasa 87.9, Kisumu 102.5, 96.0 in Nakuru, Eldoret 96.7, 90.9 in Nyeri, Malindi 97.7. We're live on KTN Home every weekday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., but this show is live on SpiceFM every weekday morning from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Good morning.
This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. Spice FM, Nyeri.
All right, the conversation continues. Dr. Ofweneke is back on the line. Dr. Ofweneke, so we'll continue this conversation into the next hour for a little bit and allow more people to come and give you the... Because what you're hearing, Dr. Ofweneke, is people are calling and they're saying, we sympathize, we understand, we empathize with you. Here is how you can go about engaging with the government. When you hear that, what is your immediate feedback?
My immediate feedback is this, Latif. I must say this. I must say I feel like on my personal opinion, it's more like a broken telephone kind of a communication between our industry, the events industry at large, in extension to bars and just basically people where people gather for fun. There's been a book and the government as well. There's not been a very strong link in terms of communication, in terms of consultation between the two bodies. And I think now that is what we should start fixing now, whereby when we are sitting on that table and the president is being advised, sir, this is what to do, this is what to do, this is not what to do, we can have somebody there from the events world, because we are an important part of the economy. But we can tell Mr. President, yes, we agree that due to people gathering in one place, there has been spike in numbers, but this is what we can do without literally interrupting the livelihoods of the guys who are in extension in the events world. Like I've said, for example, just say before you enter into a club, Latif, why don't you show probably a digital proof of that you went through or you want to get a vaccine? The same way they ask for an ID when you get into a club. Before you get into an events place, ask for a digital proof. Have you gone for your vaccine? Have you gotten tested? In that one, we have solved the issue of you that is affected getting into the club. Number two, we have also helped the government in terms of civic education. And two, making sure that we collect as much numbers of people who are getting vaccinated for coronavirus. You get? Those ones who are going to weddings. I think gone are the days where you needed to fill a whole stadium for a wedding. Sorry to those guys who want to fill up around 500. We don't need 500 people for a wedding. Agree, put strict measures. Tell us, Ofweneke, you cannot MC a wedding that is more than 50 people. Latif, I can tell you this. The 4 weddings that were cancelled, that I was supposed to MC, they were nothing less than 50 people. But they're coincidentally. And it's okay. I've done weddings 50 people. For the corporate world, it's been virtual. And we can actually have 20 people, have the boardroom, have the board members, have the CEO, have the company, and that's it. The rest can work from home. But don't close up everything and say people should not meet up. So I think they should take consultation. Now, I have a friend of mine as well on the phone line talking about looking at the business. Let me ask you, yes, Ofweneke, by the grace of God, I have traveled around the world. I'm exposed, I'm learned. I know what to do here and there, just in case I don't have an event. But let me ask you, Lati, that person who is basically, let me say probably a barista or probably a cocktail maker at the club. Lati, this guy only knows to make cocktails and nothing else. So what are you telling him to do? Should he go and mix Uti and tea?
It's a big conversation. It's a big conversation. Keep it right here. Let's continue this conversation into the next hour, Dr. Ofweneke. Let's continue the conversation into the next hour. First, let's take a look at traffic. What's happening on the roads this particular morning? And then we continue the conversation with Dr. Ofweneke, the comedian and entertainer, and DJ Q Lodic, director of 33 Limited. Good morning. It's now about 2 minutes after 9.
Spice up your life. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, so we continue looking at the roads. It's just been crazy and chaotic on Mombasa Road. The whole thing now to do about Mombasa Road is exercise patience. That's all you need to do. There's the situation as it is. It's been bad. It's rained overnight. It has just been bad. People coming in from Kasarani Mwiki, coming in towards town, are also complaining that there has been an issue this morning there in terms of traffic snarl up. Langata Road coming towards town, not so bad until you approach now the roundabout at Timor. Because of the construction ongoing there as well, some issues. Kiambu Road coming towards town, issues. Accident along Gitanga Road, 46 Terminus Kawangware, involving a shuttle bus that lost control and hit one person who's physically challenged and was unable to run. That is a very, very sad incident. So Gitanga Road now, there is something that's happening there as well. Now, anything else that you think we need to know about, SpiceFM KE on Twitter, just let us know and we'll tell everybody.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room,
4 minutes after
the
9.
only way to start your day.
CT, today's proverb.
Without a leader, black ants are confused.
Without a leader, black ants are confused.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. DJ Q Lodic, do you guys have a leader?
Eric.
Yes.
So when it comes to the DJ and the DJ scene, so we do have people that obviously the group looks up to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But however, is it structured in a way that would want to see somebody sort of like spearhead our agenda? I think the right answer there is unfortunately no. Yes.
When one talks about associations that people belong to, unions as they are called, one of the attributes of a union, apart from just having a membership, is to have services that they provide for the membership. For instance, remember we've had the nurses, clinical officers strike, doctors strike for the longest time. One of the things that unions in other places do is they ensure that those unions have enough financial support so that when their members are in trouble, they're able to help them. Now, we like SACCOs, we like saving money, we like doing these things. Now, if you have an association that doesn't look to the future and consider a time when you will have a problem, not necessarily an epidemic, but that particular union is not very useful. It's just a place where you probably get together and sit and chat. The welfare of the members must be paramount, and the welfare of the members must be something that is discussed and structured so that indeed, should such an evil day such as the one that we're in come about, they are able to at least find some breathing space. But right now, in the absence of that, the vocal aspect of the association is clearly understood. You should talk. You should have people who can represent you. But how powerful are they? They can be vocal, but how powerful are they? There's a gentleman who called in, then there's a lady who also called in, and I like their suggestion. They said, look, folks, you know where the shoe pinches. Huh? Even as you come up with these proposals and as you say open up, is it possible for you to come up with what you think ought to be done? A, maintaining the health or ensuring that the health concerns are taken care of, while at the same time helping you ply your trade. Such suggestions and an opportunity to discuss them, because those in government will not know what you people do. They will not know how best you can survive. They will not know unless you tell them. So, have you people organized yourself in a manner that would guarantee that such a discussion can take place, and such structured planning is also taking or being considered, at the very least, considered to take place?
So yeah, I think so. The conversation has started, and I think for me, I'm very happy that I can confidently say that, you know what, it has come at a point whereby people obviously are in the space of desperation. The pandemic has actually created sort of like a new environment that everybody is really, really struggling to obviously make ends meet and to survive. So, and again, within the industry, so looking at the entertainment broadly industry, and guys have come together and say, you know what, we need to obviously have one voice. So if you look at One People, One Voice movement that's currently going on, and the campaign around Unlock Our Country. So this is basically set up in a way that it has different people. So it's basically from artists, bar owners, bar workers, DJs, and so on and so forth. So you've all come together and say, you know what, we need to have one voice. We need to have our agenda listened to by the authorities, by the government. So I completely hear you guys and also hear the callers who are coming in and say, you know what, we need to have this situation. It was not there before. But right now, I think we're on the right path. And for me, I foresee this going into the long term, even post pandemic conversation, is that we can morph this into something that is more organized, more structured, that can be able to push our agenda through and through. So yes, I'm totally with you guys in this one.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Ben calling in from Nairobi wants to contribute. Ben, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're fine.
We're well, thank you.
Yes. Now, today, I think some of the conversations that you're having, they're extremely selfish to some extent. Because look, if you're Uhuru, right now, you're president of 60 million people, right?
Did we get to 60?
I think we are almost 50-something.
No,
Probably
we're still 47.
47. Okay, good enough. So, you're looking at it in terms of how do you balance a country that is going through this pandemic economically in everybody's pocket. Okay, right now, currently, a lot of small-scale traders cannot go to China, right? Schools are not open.
Yep.
So how do you balance the bigger good for the sake of the country? How many of these people are we talking about? And that's what I'm saying. The conversation is a bit selfish. This time as you're talking, I know about 2 bar owners in the upmarket area who have passed on in less than a month. I can name them. I don't know whether it's right on radio.
Don't name them. Just say there are 2 bar owners. That will be adequate.
Yeah, that is adequate. All right. Number 2, we know bars that were opening up to even 8 a.m. and guys were arrested there. Actually, I can name it, Onyx. Guys were arrested there and they did community service.
Yep.
Nobody was talking about that. Understand? It's a country for all of us.
Who's nobody?
The struggle right now is to stay alive, not economic viability. The struggle right now is to stay alive.
But don't you see a direct correlation with not being able to work and staying alive?
No, there's no.
So,
right now,
someone who doesn't work doesn't earn. If they don't earn, how on earth do they stay alive?
Another caller said, don't think inside the box. Think, even today you can do something else, honestly speaking. There's no way you're going to control alcohol in bars.
Ben,
No way.
Ben, if you don't mind my asking, what do you do?
That's too personal, I guess.
No profession. What's your profession?
I'm
What's
a
your-
businessman.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
how easy would it be for you to switch from the line of business that you do now into a new line of business?
We have had to. Because you see, look, if you don't do it, the dead only need a tomb. We need a country. We need a country to be able, we need to say in 2021, 2022, COVID is out there. You understand? COVID is gone now. You understand? We need to have now a country. We need to have workforce. We need to have people. Because if we kill everybody just because we want to make, it's the same thing about shisha. Shisha was banned in this country. Have those people ever stopped selling shishas in their joints? They still do. Look, in this country, people never say the truth. It is the epitome of selfishness. You cannot look at this. You cannot look at these things from a perspective of just because I'm an entertainer and now the country has been blocked. Now everybody, all the 47 million of us should suffer because, and putting Uhuru under so much pressure to open the country, to open and then what?
It is his job, by the way, sir, it is his job to listen and to take this pressure. That's why he's called Mr. President.
No, but it's not fair because also the other voice also has to be listened to.
So
there is another voice that is saying.
What we are saying is that let's also take responsibility.
Exactly.
We hear you. Thank you, Ben.
All right.
Thank you very much and have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Zuhura Othiambo is on the line. Zuhura, good morning.
Good morning, Eric. How are you this morning?
Very well, thank you. CT Muga says hi.
Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And how are you doing?
I'm very fine, thank you. Thank you for asking.
Zuhura, you're in the entertainment space as well.
Yes.
Okay. What do you want to say to fellow entertainers?
Thank you, Eric. And this is an issue that, has been ongoing. Of course, I represent EMAC, which stands for the Event Managers Association of Kenya. I'm the chairperson for that. We are regulated under the Tourism Regulatory Authority and work very much with the Ministry of Tourism as well, and are members of KEPSA. What I would like to say is, of course, last year was already a very bad year for the entertainment industry and the event industry. We downed our tools for close to 1 year. And just when things were looking like they would start again, that's when we got into the situation again of the third phase of this pandemic. We have seen some of our members who have closed shop. We've seen some of our members who have diversified into other things to just be able to ensure that they bring themselves to, a sustainable front to survive. Of course, with the lockdown did not come with good news in our sector, and it's conversations that we've been having currently, and through KEPSA, we even put in our suggestion that's being presented to the executive team in reference to what we are suggesting from an industry perspective. We know that there is COVID right now. We know every other day you have somebody who is dying. So this is not like the first phase where we really did not know what is happening. Right now we are seeing that. And the dire aspect is we are looking at how do we face the opening of the lockdown, where, of course, the bigger objective around this is ensuring, can we have our members and the people in the industry vaccinated? Can we have them ensure that they are tested so that we can be able to say, even as we open up, what are we on? We are seeing developments around now. People are having entertainment in the forest. People are having car-in entertainments. I mean, those are, again, spaces that this virus is spreading further. So we know that our members and some of the things, because under the events we carry a lot, everybody, we carry the DJs, we carry the artists. When there are lack of events, these people do not even have platforms to perform into, and you can't take it the digital way because, again, digital has been done. People can decide on other strategies that they do not have money to buy data to even just follow a concert all the way, and that is not sustainable, and these guys have livelihoods. So we are so concerned in that aspect, and we are really working to see how are we able to ensure that this can actually be able to revive this economy again, because as you look at it, this year has been marked as the creative economy year by UNCTAD. you cannot ignore the creative industry. And this is an industry that contributes heavily to the GDP of this country and has got a lot of our youth who are on it.
Can I ask you a question, please?
Yes.
What specifically are you doing to ensure that these things that you're talking about actually get to see the light of day and actually help the people in this industry?
We have been having meetings, and as I just told you, I know through KEPSA we have been having various lobby groups and, of course, membership that have put in the suggestive aspects to ensure that we're looking at our industry to see their revival and even just being able to deal with the third wave. And we have those conversations by the end of weekend to next week. We should be able to have and mapping a roadmap in reference to how this can actually be can actually come into place to work. Other than that, we have people in this industry again, and those are our association members that we have been representing. But at the same time, we have a heavy trickle effect on the value chain that carries everybody with us. So the bigger part of it is, even if we don't open today, how is that person supposed to pay rent? How are they supposed to survive? We are seeing suicidal rates going up in the context of people just giving up. Mental health is something else that we have to also deal with in this industry.
That's true.
So,
but Zuhura, first
yes.
of all, I have two questions for you. Question number one, the Events Managers Association of Kenya, who are the members? Is Dr. Ofweneke a member? Is DJ Kulodic a member?
Dr. Ofweneke, of course, is not a member, but is welcome. So, under IMAC, we represent the different event companies and event practitioners. This is across everybody who ensures an event happens, whether it's from a concert perspective all the way to that, because you will need them. Even the DJs are key in our industry.
So it brings in the event organizers, event managers, the people who supply from tents to chairs to catering to entertainment like DJs and MCs and comedians. All those are basically who you're targeting to be your members.
We opened that from EMAC, which was event managers, to now the event practitioners, because we can't walk alone.
Okay.
They need us, we need them. So an event can't happen without them. And we can't also just ensure that they're left on their aspect, because we understand and we've seen the effect. Even right now, as we speak, we have also casual laborers that have been affected, over 20,000 down to their tools. And these are people from the informal sector.
So the other part of the question, as you say that you're now crafting solutions and what you'd like to present through KEPSA to the government, how are you engaging everybody who plays in this entertainment supply and value chain? How are you engaging each one of them to get their input so that then you can consolidate that input and say that this is the voice of the entire industry?
We are welcoming them. They can be able to engage with ours, to be able to see how they can be represented in our conversations and what we are mapping for the industry. As we look at the industry, there have been various. We even have PERAC, that does Pubs Entertainment Association, that has been key on that entertainment aspect and the pubs aspect as well. But what we are looking at is creative economy, which is very key for us to be able to save it. That we are ready to work together as a voice and be able to represent the various segments, because at the end of it, we need all of us to ensure that we work together.
Let me open up the line now for Dr. Ofweneke and DJ Kulodic to also engage you on this particular. Is there anything that you'd like to tell her or to ask her, Dr. Ofweneke? DJ?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, of course, Latif, like you asked, I'm not a direct member of IMAC, but I'm part of a group that we have a representative in the IMAC, Chris Kilwa. I'm part of the elite MCs, so I might not be directly inside there, but at least I know there's somebody who will represent my views at the IMAC. And of course, I must recommend IMAC has done a good job in the past. Just in terms of making sure the industry, at least the event organizers, speak with one voice and a few things here and there implemented. If there's anything that needs to be fixed, gets fixed. So first of all, I must comment on that. Number two, mine may not be directly to her, Lucky, but might be directly to Ben, a previous caller. I must say with all due respect, he has made one of the most selfish, ironically, one of the most selfish statements any human can ever make.
Yeah.
That was very inconsiderate of him.
Which one?
Just like as my colleague has said, the creative world is ending up to be one of the most important and one of the most vital industries across the world. It is feeding people, it is feeding families, it is creating a livelihood for people. So when you say, when you try to make a connotation to kind of sound and make us feel like we're not that important, wait until the day your son grows up and tells you he wants to become a comedian, and another pandemic happens. That's when you'll know that this is really important. Or when they want to become a TV host, when they want to become a DJ, when they want to become probably a security, that's when you know how important this industry is. And what we're saying is, Latif, we just say what we're saying is we want a platform, we want a round table whereby we can have this conversation. And thank God for Imak. I'm happy to hear what she's saying, is that we've already started the conversation of this is how we can work together to make sure as much as we are protecting and saving lives and making sure that we're playing an important role in make sure that corona doesn't spread as much as it is, we are also at the same time protecting the livelihoods of people. And I can tell you that if I know of 5 people in the industry who are currently undergoing therapy, that is, it is bad. You get?
Yeah,
people are undergoing a lot of mental instability. People are undergoing a lot of depression, and we cannot have this conversation because of people like them who are becoming selfish and not being considered that this is where one country, even us natives, we are here for you guys. We're here to entertain you people. You get?
Yeah.
So we are not. It's not like we're seeking for sympathy. We're just saying, hey, how can we also be sorted as much as we want to make sure that we are in a part of fighting corona, but how can we also make sure that bills can also be paid? Thank God for me, who God has blessed me. What about those upcoming in the industry? What about those who are not as big enough as Dr. Foneke? What are they do? What can they do?
How can they be helped?
What are they going through?
Dr. Foneke, so here's the thing.
Yes, sir.
And like you've just said, those like you who have a bigger platform, those like you who are bigger names in the industry, I guess that's also the other side of what one of our callers was saying. During this time, between the second wave and the third wave, there was a lot of misbehavior by everybody in the society.
Yes.
Are you willing to take responsibility and say, yes, indeed, even those of us in our industry, we misbehaved, and here is what we can do to correct things going forward? Like you were saying, bars were full, and that's a fact. Like you're saying, when people were being arrested in clubs because of clubbing until late at night, it was members of the entertainment industry who were hosting them. When you have people who are now being caught in forests, breaking and flouting the rules, it is members of this general industry who are playing this role. Are you willing to stand up and say, first of all, I want to point a finger at those that are doing what they're not supposed to be doing, and then let's have a conversation about how we can correct this?
What I will say is this, Latif. First of all, as a creative industry and the entertainment industry at large, we must agree, first of all, that we bear a bigger burden in the spread of corona. We must agree on that, first of all. We must agree on that. And it's simply because some of us chose to follow the guidelines set by MOH and in extension with the World Health Organization. And of course, just following the government guidelines. Some of us chose to follow that. And some of us chose not to follow that. So first of all, we must agree as an industry who plays that. We've allowed some of our colleagues to go against the rules. We have allowed some of our colleagues to get us back into this position that we were last year. And I can say this in unison, as part of the lobby group that I'm in, plus many others. I think we're at a point whereby we all agree right now. If the president says the clubs must be closed by 10, I think it's a conclusive opinion. It's a conclusive decision that, hey, clubs be closed by 10. If we say weddings do not accommodate more than 100 people, I think we're all in conclusive opinion that a wedding should not consist more than 100 people. And you come and say, if Ofoneke is at a wedding that is more than 100 people, then I have broken the rules, because I will not be playing part. I will not be playing part in making sure that we get back to probably flattening the curve. So I think there are measures which we are all agreeing to be put in place. And of course, in extension with the likes of EMAG, and of course, the ones who are in extension in CAMSA, for us to say, hey, guys, we played a part in this, but this is what we are willing to do.
Yeah.
So as we continue to earn our living, we're also saving the lives as well. So I think at that, let's agree, first of all, we played a big part in that. But hey, this is what we are willing to do. And I think we have all that in writing, in soft copies, and the groups are ready to have this conversation with the relevant government body to see how can we get guys back to work.
Thank you for that. And before we let you go, Zuhura, so you've said that you're having conversations through KEPSA, trying to engage with the government, engage with the Ministry of Health, engage with the Ministry of Interior on what can be done. So far, what are the suggestions that are coming out from the members of EMAC and others in the entertainment industry? What is it that they want to see done?
Oh, okay, so the members of EMAC and that, and just from the implication of the lockdown, we have seen businesses affected. So ideally, we have loss of businesses and even just the cancellation of the LPOs and even the financial aspect that you could have gotten from the bank. We have seen companies are really struggling with this to even be able, because they had already put in and forecasted various events and other even meetings. We are very big on MICE. You've seen all the blue economy, the UNCTAD, all that is done, from the EMAC members. Now, our suggestion is, first of all, and even just understanding about the third wave, Eric, it's not an easy place where we are in, because we know we need, the number one thing that we need, guys, to be vaccinated. And we need the vaccines available so that we can even be able to save our people as we even open the lockdown. Then even the testing and ensuring that we are bringing the responsibility to ourselves. It's not a matter of being able to just wait for government to tell us or open for us. It is, have we seen somebody who's not wearing their masks? Have we seen people gathering together and it's not required? How can we be our own police? Because it is real. 2 weeks ago, I lost 3 colleagues, Winnie Mukami, Lonairungu, and Robin Jogu, that I worked with previously. And this is to COVID. Now we are knowing names of people that we have actually lost. So we cannot be able to say this is not there. Now, the element that we are looking at is how do we take this problem in our space and decide to solve it, and then be able to see how we can be able to open the market. So first of all, we should not be encouraging even this forest entertainment and car entertainments are happening, because people then are going. We will not even have people to be creative to tomorrow if we continue with this. And that's the reason why you can see the focus is on flattening the curve. Second is we are asking the individuals who are there, you need to join an association to speak for you, so that we can be able to see how can we have even funding that can come and ensure that it is directed to the right people that can actually be helped to get them to the next stage. So those are some of the things that we have suggested to government, and ensuring that even within our industry we have vaccine that's available. We are frontline workers, you can say that again.
Yeah.
We have got people setting up and setting down in different times. It's only during this lockdown that has been there. This is an industry you have. What time does a DJ perform when the opening up happens? And, and it's within particular hours. What if it's not there? What are the things we are putting down in place? So there's a lot that we have suggested. My humble hand, as I extend it, is let's see how we can have this conversation together. Let's see what can be done. Let's see how it can be well represented. And because we are represented under KEPSA here, we can ensure that we can revive this industry, because it's the industry that we need to carry us tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Zuhura, for calling in. Zuhura is the chairperson of the Events Managers Association of Kenya. We are having a conversation about the impact of the current lockdown and containment measures on the entertainment industry. Joining us on the line is Dr. Ofweneke. He is a comedian and entertainer and MC, and also DJ Q Lodic, director 33 Limited, a DJ as well. The DJ and the entertainer, keep it on the line, because we're gonna pick up some more calls, and people calling in and giving you ideas and giving you suggestions on what you can do and how you can then engage the government. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room. 9:30. Let's see what's happening on the roads. There's a bad accident that's happened between Malindi on the way to Garissa. I'll tell you about that shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
The Spice Drive with Monique, the official soundtrack of getting you where you need to be.
Thank
you.
The political class, the contestants, everybody is trying to outsteal the other.
Remorse is not taught in any school. Manners is something you get from your mother. You don't get it from your political party.
Why are we so unfocused as a country? Why are we spending money and resources, yet we have real challenges in this country?
This coronavirus pandemic should teach us one thing, that universal healthcare is critical. Because at this point, whether you have a medical card that covers you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Okay, so it's warming up in Nairobi. It's now 19 degrees. We still have some rain showers in some parts of Nairobi. It's going to rise to 25 and then lows of 17 later on at night. Mombasa is raining now. Light rains at 29 degrees, highs of 32, lows of 25 later. Kakamega, sunny, presently running to 30 highs and lows of 16. Nyeri, 23 highs and lows of 14, currently at 18 degrees. Mostly cloudy in Nakuru right now, but it's going to rise to 26 and then drop to 13. Eldoret is partly sunny today. Highs of 24 and lows of 12. Kisumu, sunny. Highs of 30, lows of 19. In Uganda, Kampala, mostly sunny. Highs of 25 and lows of 19. Just coming back to the country, it's having light rains in Malindi, highs of 32 and lows of 27. Beijing in China, highs of 20 and lows of 3. France, Paris, highs of 9 and lows of 2. The UK, London, it's sunny, highs of 8, lows of 2. And New York is going to be clear skies today, highs of 21 and lows of 8. So the unfortunate thing that's happened here is that scores of people, tens of people are feared dead after an accident involving a bus from Mombasa going towards Garissa. And then, separately, a minibus has heading to Mombasa to Malindi got involved in another accident. So 2 accidents here that are fatal. One is a bus from Mombasa going towards Garissa. Fatal. Many people feared dead. Here we're saying that at least more than 10 people have died out of this accident. Some figures rising to as high as 40. I mean, this is a very, very, very grisly morning for those people on that road. In Nairobi, Mombasa Road is still crazy. There was an accident on Gitanga Road earlier where a minibus veered off the road and it's said to have hit somebody on a wheelchair. The condition of the person on a wheelchair is still not yet clear for us right now, but that was a bad accident there as well. Just be safe wherever you are, wherever you're traveling to or from this morning. Good morning.
Spice up your life.
All right, it's 25 to 10. We still continue this conversation. DJ Q Lodic is on the line, and also Dr. Ofweneke, who we're having a conversation with. DJ Q Lodic still here with us. DJ, members of the fraternity have basically come out to say this is what we'd like the government to hear us out. We'd like the government to engage with us and say we can actually be able to still earn a living, save our livelihoods as we protect lives. Now, many times the situation has been, and we've seen this even from the Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe, when he comes out and says we are now seeing people dancing Jerusalem. and you're now dancing Jerusalem in complete and total disregard of the health protocols. Others have even said the spaces where you work in, those entertainment spaces, the social spaces, people, A, consume alcohol. And when they consume alcohol and you're giving them some good music, then all sense flies off the window. How do you control your crowds to make sure that all those people who are coming to give you money, who are coming to make you continue earning, are still protected? What role can you play?
Thank you, Eric. And I think Dr. Foneke actually put it fairly well in articulating actually the issue. And I think it's actually two-sided. So number one is obviously, yes, there is the responsibility of people within the industry. So ours have included the entertainers, the club owners or event organizers who are actually putting all these things together. And I think I will totally agree with you guys that, you know what, at some point in time, there's a bit of laxity. So we know, and again, I'll talk about the bad.
A bit of laxity, did you say?
Yeah, so I'm talking about. Yes, a bit of laxity. But again,
there was a lot of laxity.
The reason I'm saying a bit is because I'm talking about the selected events. So if you look at the number of entertainment joints that exist in this particular country, it's a lot. We have about 14,000 outlets across the country. This is actually coming from the latest data.
Yeah.
So that's a huge number. But if you go on social media and find out the number of the outlets that were coming out, almost always circumventing the rules, is not even 1% of that figure. That's why I think strongly saying that, it's unfortunate that, bad news obviously spread much louder and faster, which is actually the case. And it's first to say, it's how do we then as an industry manage the conversation? So a few people are letting everybody else look bad in the face of the public, which is very, very unfortunate. So I think us as within the industry players, we have a responsibility and a lot to play in making sure that we are all adhering to the rules. So that's forming part of self-regulation. Okay? And I think we're fairly clear around that. The other thing I think, and maybe just back to Zura's point, is the fact that we do also need to have one voice coming through. So I know there's been different conversations coming from different lobbying groups, associations. If you look at what IMAC are doing within their own capacity and KEPSA, and what our lobby group is trying to do, there is a need for us to come together and collaborate better. So I think going forward, we just need to have one voice. It is better for the government to basically hear the entertainment industry being represented by one particular voice.
Yeah.
And actually everybody's opinion is represented within that one voice. Yeah.
But it appears that to be something that's quite difficult to do, particularly in this industry. Even if you look at what you're doing in terms of protecting rights and getting your royalties collected, you have like 3 different bodies for musicians that, are just getting their rights managed. Talking about this one now, there are so many other smaller associations that come up. It appears to be something the creatives find it difficult to all speak with one voice. Why is it so?
So I think personally, I'm just speaking for myself. The reason why it's different is because you talk about creatives, and it's different. So you talk about creative, looking at people who are basically performing artists, recording artists. You have DJs, you have MCs. It's different people in different fields.
Yeah.
And like, say, for example, a profession like, say, doctors or lawyers, they sort of have a singular institution that they all go through, that allows them to easier collect themselves together in terms of forming an association. Ours is a bit too different. It's fairly well diverse. There are different interests within the industry.
Yeah.
That again, it's difficult.
Okay, DJ, let me just stop you there. When you say you have different interests, what are these different interests?
So not necessarily. I'll talk about, for example, the pain that a DJ would experience. Okay, would be significantly different from the pain that say Dr. Foneke and the comedian industry would obviously experience. And if you look at, and I'm talking about currently, if you look at, say, for example, WhatsApp as a platform of people coming together and venting and sharing their frustrations, you'll notice that there's a WhatsApp group for DJs, there'll be another WhatsApp group for MCs, and whatever happens in those groups are only privy to the members of that particular group. So you see, as I'm saying, it's very, very messy for lack of a better word.
But do you think there is a will to actually look at the similarities and the commonality that you share and the purpose and the benefit that you would derive from actually working together? Are you telling me that these petty little differences trump the bigger picture of the power that you could actually wield if you worked as a unit? I mean, look at our parliament. They represent different constituencies, but look at how they get together to raise their salaries every time they have an opportunity.
Yeah, true. And I agree with you. So the thing is, I think for us, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And it's unfortunate that it has taken a pandemic for us to get to this point whereby, you know what, we strongly feel there is a need for us to speak as one voice. My prayer and hope is that going into the future is that post the pandemic is that whatever strong association we're able to develop within this period comes together and forms a unit or organization that allows us within the industry to just basically drive our agenda as one. Yeah.
Dr. Foneke, you're still on the line here with us, and as we call in other people, 0719-012-600, that's 0719-012-600. You let's look at the other side of the importance of having you, and like you said, you come in to entertain us, you come in to take a load off our shoulders, you come in to help sort of, soothe our minds during this difficult time. Just speak about that, about the importance of having a comedian, for example, at this time when people are going through this hardship.
First of all, let me tell you this, Curtis, and this is not to beautify, it's not to beautify or glamorize my career. But I think pursuing comedy is probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. I probably don't have any regrets yet. Even as I'm about to retire from comedy in a couple of years, I think it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. And even as a comedian, my biggest reward is not
Dr. I think the phone is playing a joke on you, and so we can't get you.
We can't make up what it is you're saying.
Have had the same Sunday Soul, where people actually just tune in and they watch DJ Pinye and they get entertained. The importance of that during such a time, what is it?
It's big. So I think from a psychological point of view, so people need avenues to unwind after a long day, after a stressful day. And you see what entertainment does, whether it be it through music or through comedians sharing a joke here or there. It basically is part of the well-being of a human person. The industry is very, very important. I think, and if you look at the Kenyan context, for the longest time, growing up, and I remember I loved music and DJing when I was very young. And a lot of my colleagues at the time, the parents never wanted to hear that you want to be a DJ. It was associated, it was similar to you wanted to be a matatu tout at the time, which was perceived as not a very good line for you to consider as a career move. But we've actually seen that change over time. Right now, we're seeing a lot of people making actually good careers, very good money coming off entertainment, be it in MCing, be it in DJing, so on and so forth. So we know the reason why that is happening is because there is that societal need for that industry, the entertainment industry. It relieves a lot of the day-to-day pressure that we do have. So it's absolutely important. I was reading the other day in terms of the size of pie when it comes to entertainment. And I think PwC, the last report that they did was in 2018. And I think the numbers that given to that industry was about 189 billion Kenya shillings was the figure given to that. It's a massive, massive industry. They're projecting that number actually to double in 2019 going into 2020. So right now, I don't know what the figures are. Obviously, I think because of the pandemic, it might have actually probably scrapped out about 50-60% of the value of that industry. But again, it shows you that the numbers don't lie. And for me, I think there's a need for not just government, but I think also as a society, we need to basically put the much needed emphasis and effort within this industry. How do we help our young people coming up and expressing their interest to get into art? How do we basically help them navigate some of the challenges that some of us faced over time to get where we are right now? Yeah.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Lydia in Nakuru, good morning.
Muda mrefu, mambo?
Mambo poa sana Lydia. Habari yako?
Mimi niko poa. Na in fact, I have been infected for the jab.
Ah,
very good.
Very good.
But I was refusing it.
Why were you refusing it, Lydia?
Because I was hearing the effect.
And since you took it, have there been any effects?
Okay, at least you feel a little bit good. Some of them even were feeling dizziness. But
overall, you're fine.
It is just a little bit of.
Sijali.
You are talking about the industries.
Yes, we were.
Now, what I would ask is, how are they helping people to know about this problem of this disease? And this time it is very, very, very heavy pandemic. Even many people are dying. Many people are suffering. Many people they don't know how to deal with it. So what I'm asking, how can those industries help those people to know about this thing?
How they can spread awareness.
How they can spread the awareness of this disease, because now it has come ni kama fujo.
Kabisa. That's very true. Thank you. That's a good question, Lydia. DJ, respond to that.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Lydia, for that. And I think, yes, we have an opportunity, and I think we've been playing a part in this. So if you look at a lot of the posts that have been going out for events, one of the things that as industry players we try to push heavy is on the MOH protocol. So things around making sure that you sanitize at the entrance when you're coming into an establishment. Make sure that probably you put on your face mask, or you social distancing. So putting the spaces between, so seating arrangements, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I think there is more that needs to be done. In the industry, we have players who are very, very influential. So these sort of like your influencers, from anything, from the DJ to the artist, and there are guys who have very big, large followings, and people really listen to them. So there is a need as an industry to come together and see how can you also drive the awareness conversation through our own platforms. Could be social media, could be some of these forums that we have in here that allows guys to know that, what, the disease is there, it is real, and these are some of the things that you need to be aware of as you're taking care of your own personal safety. So I agree with Lydia. We do need to do more.
Thank you. Let's hear from Pigeon in Utawala. Pigeon is the leader of a political party. Good morning, Pigeon.
Good morning. Long time, Mary.
Sana, chama iko imara.
Chama iko imara. Nyinyi ndio unaona hii pandemic inatuletea shida kidogo.
Umefanya handshake yote?
No, we cannot shake hands with those guys.
Okay. Which guys in particular?
Huh?
Which guys in particular can you not shake hands with?
Those perennial politicians who have survived in this country for decades.
Okay. Yeah. Now, talk to potential members who are online.
Yeah. What I want to say, you see, these DJs, this is a job they survive on. Their family depend on this job, you see? Like you're a media personality. If your job was to be cut off today, what would you feel? What would be the impact to your survival, you see?
Big.
So as much as you are trying to criticize these guys, let's understand that they are doing just same job as you are doing your own job, you see? And if anybody's job is affected in one way or the other, it affects their life. So the best thing is that they should not feel like they're discriminated. They are part of the society. They are Kenyans, you see? If there were measures that were laid by the Ministry of Health, those measures must just be followed and implemented, because those measures were also laid to those industries and they were trying to follow that. So let's ensure that these industries follow the measures so that we can reduce whatever is going on or increasing number. That's the only thing we can do. But you cannot shut their life totally, surely. If you shut their life, it's just like shutting your life. If you say now today, being a media personality is spreading corona, and therefore we are cutting off all the media personalities in this country, what do you see?
That's true. That's very true. Thank you very much, Pigeon.
We must empathize with them.
We do. Asante sana, Pigeon.
So,
Renson Ingong, good morning.
Morning, Eric.
How are you?
I'm all right. How is your morning today?
Very well, thank you.
My contribution today is I like that the creative industry has come together and tried to have their voice heard during the pandemic. But I only compare this pandemic to probably Second World War or the First World War.
Mm-hmm.
None of us have been through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I empathize or sympathize with them, but they should understand that there is no industry that is independent.
Mm-hmm.
All industries are interconnected. The same way they are suffering is the same way the chicken farmer is suffering. The farmer who sells his cuckoo to the established performing, they don't have a market. So I don't think the biggest. I think we just need to have the patience, save lives, and tomorrow they'll have people to entertain.
Kwali. Thank you very much, Ranson.
Okay, thank you.
So message to you, DJ and Dr. Foneke, is hang in there. Hang in there. As we come to the conclusion, I think one of the things that also Ranson is saying, look at this cloud and see the silver lining. One thing that it's making you guys do is it's making you, first of all, come together and work together and seek a platform on which you can actually work together, one. And then the second thing is that it's also helping this industry look at how else can we deliver our product and our service to our audience. I think those are two lessons that you can come out of this with. How then do you leverage on this going forward?
That's me.
Yes, that's you, Foneke.
I think just like you said, just to add on what you said, I think for the first time the creative industry has sat down and said, hey, you know what? We need to speak with one voice. As much as we all have different skills, from DJing to MCing to comedy to a little bit of the hospitality world. But we are at a point where we say, you know what, because we never know, or we are not anticipating another pandemic, but just in case there's a time that will come when we need our voices heard, or our needs and maybe our requests put out, I think we need to speak with one body. And I can say this to all my fellow entertainers and creatives in extension who are listening. Since we cannot all speak with one body because of what my colleague has said in terms of skills, have the DJs have their association, comedians have their association, MCs have their association, artists have their association, the skilled have their. Then out of that, get one representative from each and every group, then form another main umbrella of an organization which can now speak speak for us when need arises. And number two, I think for me, Latif, lessons that I've learned is that I'm actually as well. I can actually deliver my services in a different way. I don't need to stand in front of probably at times a whole crowd of 60,000 people for me to MC. I can actually have 20 people in a room and the rest are watching virtual. So I think it's also teaching us on how to, just like you said, deliver our services in different ways. But then again, my fight and my cry, Latif, is not for the likes of me and the likes of my big brothers who God has blessed us enough and God has graced us and favored us enough. My cry and fight is for those ones who are not Dr. Foneke yet, are not Jalango yet, are not Churchill yet, are not Professor Hamo yet, are not MC Tricky yet. They are still down. They're still trying to make it. Because when I trust me, Latif, when gates open and when the lockdown is lifted, the first thing, the first tier of MCs the clients are gonna start calling is the likes of us.
Yep.
So you end up having our boys start doing shoddy jobs, and that is just probably one of the issues that we're going to be facing. So I'm just saying, when the lockdown, let them lift the lockdown.
let's sit down, come up, let's present our solutions, because that is what we're here to do. Let's talk with one voice. Let's even if you to open. How does the creative industry help in the civic education of what the vaccine is all about? Which vaccine is safe? Where can you get it? Can we place the vaccines out to the clubs, out to the events places? Can we put a certain measure in terms of numbers for weddings, as much as for funerals, as much as for other events? How do we have a balanced and a fair playing ground whereby not one club is open and another club is not open? How can we make sure that at the end of the day, we are all catered for, lives are saved, and at the same time, families are fed and people can be able to continue fending for their families?
Very well said. Very well said, Dr. Foneke. DJ?
Yeah, I think for me, advocating, we need to talk. Obviously, stakeholders, and then also with the government. What we are strongly advocating for is that we believe that we can still operate under obviously guidance of the Ministry of Health around the COVID protocol. However, there's a need to balance between livelihood and obviously lives. It would be very sad, guys, to actually focus heavy on health. People are suffering in their homes. They cannot be able to feed their families. People are depressed, considering suicide, so on and so forth. So we need to have a balance. Last thing as a group and as a team is that we need to talk and iron out these issues and find an amicable way to get people back to work in a safe environment. Thank you.
Asante sana. Siti, your final words to the entertainers who, at this particular point, you hear what they're going through, you hear what they're crying out for.